Dr. Alban, yeah, It's My Life. There you have it, Gregory. Wait, come
Do you
here.
know, like,
Yeah.
that song was released 32 years ago,
You're joking.
No.
32 years ago?
1992.
Look at this, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
You come in when the cameras are rolling, look to just, flick your hair.
No, but isn't it amazing how it's scary, really, isn't it?
Time flies, isn't it?
32 years ago.
Do you find
I
when you
remember
don't...
that coming out. I remember going to the nightclub.
My God.
I remember dancing. I prefer to forget that. But,
Yeah.
32 years ago. Life is fleeting, boy.
Do you find it when you get older, time flies a wee bit?
No, I find it when you play songs from 1992 that I think were released about 5 days ago.
But 90s is your thing, because you told me before, I used to always play 80s stuff, and then you says, no, 90s is a good buzz too,
No, 80s is a bit outside of my era.
Come on.
It is, genuinely.
Hey, we sorted out the toothpick anyway.
We didn't, actually.
What do you mean we didn't?
Because there's quite a lot of people are of the view that you were wrong.
But there's more so people thinking
No.
I'm right. Now, don't continue this week. Can we not just put this to bed?
Okay, well, if you want to check out the video, it's on my Facebook page. You can determine yourself who you think is right or wrong.
Oh, but that's
Anyway.
your fans, your 30,000 followers.
No,
They're just
no.
agreeing with you because they
No, that's
like
not
you.
true. No,
Do you know?
you've got a lot of love there, Lee.
No, I like love. But I'm just saying, they're going to bide with you. They're going to be on your
Will
side.
you put it on your Facebook page? What did they say?
No, says I'm wrong. No, get away. Can you have a good weekend,
You
right?
too.
Cheers,
have
bye.
a great one, Lee. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. Coming up very shortly, we'll welcome on to the show our Friday panel. But first, let's get a news update. And it is, at this point, over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Donegal County Council is to carry out a road safety survey at the Glen Keogh Gary Harry junction on the outskirts of Letterkenny, with a view towards having increased safety signage and possibly a raised safety embankment put in place. Motions were moved by Municipal District Cahirla Kevin Bradley and Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly after a number of incidents in which cars slid on the junction and ended up in a nearby field, particularly during icy weather. Officials said the junction will be referred to the road safety engineer to carry out an assessment, but in response to one suggestion, warned a barrier might worsen rather than solve the problem. Councillor Kelly says the review is urgent in light of recent incidents.
We've seen an incident there just recently where there was 2 or maybe 3 cars that landed on top of one another. It will be referred to the road safety engineer to carry out an assessment. So this is positive news. I feel this needs to be acted upon sooner rather than later. It could be down to a relation of the surface of the road, and if that's the case, it's important to get a safety assessment carried out.
A teenage girl has died and another teen and 3 adults are in hospital following a road crash in County Tipperary. Road closures are still in place near the village of Rear Cross following the 2-car crash yesterday evening. Andrew Louth reports.
Gardaí and emergency services were alerted just before 7 o'clock last night to the collision which happened on the R503 close to Rear Cross. A 15-year-old girl who was a passenger in one of the 2 vehicles involved was pronounced dead at the scene. Another girl in her mid-teens and a man and a woman both aged in their 20s, all travelling in the same car, were injured. They, along with a woman who was driving the other car, were all taken to University Hospital Limerick. None of their conditions are life-threatening. The teenage girl's body was removed from the scene last night and a post-mortem will be carried out today. Diversions are still in place today as Garda forensically examine the crash site.
Meanwhile, the man who was killed in a collision in Derry has been named as 42-year-old James Gallagher. The collision happened on the Strand Road last Sunday at around 1:40am. PSNI say inquiries are ongoing and have appealed to those with information or video footage of any kind to come forward. 4,800 homes, businesses and farms near Bunbeg and Hamney will soon have high-speed connectivity as the National Broadband Ireland begin works. The current number of Donegal properties connected on the government's National Broadband Plan currently sits at 6,000. Current works are to include Annagry, Derrybeg and Carrowkeel, with a view to be fully connected between October and December this year. A man in his 20s has been hospitalised following a collision in Lifford last night. It happened at approximately 9pm and it's believed the injuries sustained are non-life-threatening. Gardaí say investigations are ongoing and the road has since been cleared. Moving on now to weather, mainly cloudy or misty to begin this morning with scattered showers. Those showers easing through the day with bright or sunny spells later. Highs of 9 to 12 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 10 o'clock.
Because your health means... VHI are here for the whole you, with the whole of us. Our own doctors, our own health centres, and a wide range of our own specialists. From dermatologists and paediatricians to women's health experts. VHI, because your health means everything. VHI Insurance DAC trading as VHI Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Good morning to you. It is just turning 4 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 16th of February 2024. You're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show. Loads coming up over the next 3 hours. We're going to kick off in the first hour with our Friday panel discussing some of the big stories of the day and the week, and we want you to join in that conversation as well. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Just a reminder for you that you can watch proceedings on your large screen smart TV on the YouTube app or on your Fire Stick. Just type in Highland Radio Ireland. That's good to go on your mobile devices as well, and we're on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland News and Sport, and on X. All right, let's say hello to our guests this morning. And we'll say good morning first to Catherine Noon, lawyer and former Fine Gael senator. Good morning, Catherine. How are you getting on?
Greg.
Great to have you back on the show. Lovely to see you. Michael Harrison, retired Garda Inspector. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Greg. How are you?
Very well indeed. And last but not least, Barbara Ukahal, Coor Dihor, Planola Changa, Lena Letrikenny. Good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm trying to do more of the introduction to you in Irish rather than skirt around it, so you'll have to forgive me. But listen, it's the right thing to do. Okay, lots for us to discuss. I might start with Archie, if that's okay. It's a story, it's very, very important, but as I said to listeners a little earlier on in the week, I'm tiring of it a little bit, but that's irresponsible of me. I shouldn't be, because it's massive money and it needs to be resolved. Reading this morning that RTE paid out 2.6 million in golden handshakes to executives during DFOB's reign as Director General. The broadcaster's accounts reveal the significant payments across 6 years to key management personnel receiving termination benefits. The revelation comes after it emerged a €450,000 exit package was given to former RTE Chief Financial Officer Brenda O'Keefe. Now, these aren't redundancies packages. These are sort of exit packages. And there is a tax liability, though it's not significant in the wider scale of things. Catherine, I mean, it's obviously not going away, this controversy. Is this part, though, of the cleansing process that we shouldn't be surprised of these revelations?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, well, what I've heard in commentary over the last couple of days is that really there was nothing illegal about this payment, much as it may sound like over the top to those of us listening. But, you know, the question is, I suppose, you know, the question that's being asked generally out there is, should she be giving the money back? And she may well decide to, but I think it would probably be a goodwill gesture on her part if she did, because it seems that there was nothing actually illegal about it, even though the method that they went about maybe approving the payment wasn't correctly done internally. From her perspective, it's hard to see how, you know, if it were in court, how they would have a leg to stand on.
Is the scrutiny of these individuals justified, or is there a danger that it becomes a bit of a witch hunt, a bit of a head on a stick job?
There is a danger of that, because there was a general culture in RTE that permeated the whole organisation, especially at the top tier, say financially, wages wise. And it's very, I would imagine it's very difficult for an individual to be subjected to the level of scrutiny and, discussion about their exit payment, which for all intents and purposes, if it were examined legally, is above board. You know, it appears, while they may not have observed what they should have observed internally in terms of, you know, proper authorities, I don't think the woman has actually done anything wrong, and her name is all over the papers and all. We're talking about her this morning, and I'm sure they're talking about an RTE, so it's a very difficult one on a personal level. And I think your point is very valid, Greg, about a witch hunt,
Michael Harrison, do you think Breda O'Keefe has a moral obligation, as it's been framed, to pay back the €450,000? I mean, if you start there, where does it end? And I don't want to sound like I'm in any way defending this, but we had the same cause with Ryan Tubridy. Now, he's very well resourced and able to make an awful lot of money going forwards. I'm not sure what Breda O'Keefe, she is in the public eye, but she's not a a public person as such. Do you think the calls are justified? You're muted, Michael. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Greg, as a result of just much the same as yourself, I had kind of tired of the whole RTE saga and listening to it. And when I seen it was up for discussion today, I started, to do some research. And when I did actually do my research, I'm quite annoyed this morning about the whole thing.
Sorry.
These guys have, as a board, the first thing board members have, and this isn't just something that's made up, this is something that's contained in the Companies Act 2014. They have a fiduciary duty, to look after everything and, do things properly and honestly as board members. And under the Broadcasting Act, the board have to represent the interests of the viewers. That's the first subsection that they have to do. And where there might be nothing illegal that they've done, but they certainly did not act within good faith in representing the people, the audience of the people of this country, in what that board done, how they managed to come up with the figures that they've come up with. And even in today's Irish Independent, there's more golden handshakes. And there was an article published in July on the RT website outlining, these were non-executive directors, and it is a lucrative gig for anybody who gets a non-executive director. They're employed on the basis of their skills, on their skill set, whatever that may be. But for whatever reason for leaving it, I cannot see how paying people this huge amount of money is acting in the good faith of the people of this country. Is the
is the hangover from this the reality that, and I think it's sort of some commentators are suggesting in the papers today, that the licence fee is dead in the water, that it can't, someone calculated yesterday 2,500 homes paying the licence fee for a year just to pay this exit package, right? Like the licence fee and how RT is funded, it can't continue as is, surely, because who would pay it?
The whole governance, the method of which this organisation is governed was completely wrong. These guys were running it for the sake of themselves. I remember watching when this scandal broke first, and there was a commentator on Sky News who worked in they worked in RT. He said they couldn't even afford remote controls for the televisions in the newsroom. But yet these guys were getting paid huge handshakes. Like all it appears that they were doing is, from a governance point of view, was looking after themselves, which is just agency theory. It was completely wrong. And the licence fee, as it stands, from reading this last night, the whole board structure, the method of which this board was governed, it's just finished. It cannot continue.
Well, Kevin Backhurst is in there now to sort of, to sweep things up, so to speak. I mean, can it be rehabilitated, given the ongoing revelations that we're hearing?
Well, if these massive handshakes to non-executive directors who, for whatever reason, are leaving, if that remains part of the rules and regulations of RT, no.
Barbara, what's your view?
They're not representing us.
Yep.
How is that value for money?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Barbara, what's your view?
Yeah, I think we need to be careful of presuming that the whole of RTE was rancid with this, because I think there's an awful lot of very good people who keep RTE going on a day-to-day basis. And they are the people who seem to be struggling on self-employed contracts. And they do not have any of these benefits. And they are under huge pressure. Their wages are not good. They don't have things like maternity cover and sick cover and all of those things. And so there's, I would agree with Michael, there's been a complete imbalance.
And I would say, Barbara, to your point, I would imagine that some of the greatest anger is coming from within RTE, because, you talk RTE, if you mention Highland Radio, it's all of us here, right? So even if it's one person, the brand is everyone sort of associated with it. So we talk about RTE, it is everyone. And I would say a lot of the people that you talk of that feel hard done by, they are feeling the pain the most on many of them on moderate wages.
Absolutely. Because I think at the moment, if I was to say, I work for RTE, there would be a presumption that somehow I'm on this gravy train. And for so many, I'd say the majority of people working in RTE, that is not the case. And so something has to change radically, where there is a level of respect for the people who actually keep the organisation going. And this attitude of, payment packages being put through, not going to the executive, not getting proper approval. Yesterday we had Emer Cusack obviously uncomfortable with the level of payment that was being put through, but she didn't actually raise that with other management figures. So there was something very rotten in the whole system. Now, yes, Kevin Backhurst is in now. He wasn't there at that point. It's hard to see how he can turn this around. I think there has to be a huge change in things like the licence fee.
Well,
in
how
the whole
do you
culture.
do that, though? Because, at the end of the day, whilst we're talking about licence fee, more and more people aren't going to pay it. Sinn Féin have effectively said that they will scrap the licence fee and fund RTE by direct funding. And then people are going, well, shall I bother paying it now? Because if I don't pay it now, even if we get a summons and there's a change of government, maybe there'll be an amnesty and I'll get away with it. So there's so much noise out there at the moment, like that who is going to pay the licence fee? They really need to come up with a solution very, very quickly. And is that solution, Barbara, in your view, direct exchequer funding? Would you be comfortable with that?
Well, I think direct exchequer funding means it's coming out of our pockets. Yeah. It's not falling off trees. So I think if we have a sense that things have been turned round in RTE, but it's not just RTE, this needs to be broader than that. It's about funding of public service broadcasting right across the board. And from that perspective, yes, I think it should be something that is coming directly from the exchequer, from our taxes, but done in a way which maybe challenges RTE to look at to what extent they're fulfilling that mandate of public service broadcasting.
What is public
and supporting
service
others that do.
Yeah, what's public service broadcasting to you, Michael? Because it said an awful lot, but there's an awful lot of people really aren't happy with the output from RTE. But what is, in your view, public service broadcasting?
Well, it is actually defined, Greg. The RTE board was set up in 1960. It was initially called the RTE Authority. And the duties of the board, it is enshrined in the Broadcasting Act of 2009, and certainly what the board, public broadcasting, it is about delivering the best value for money TV. That you can get, to the public for what they can see, and that it is funded properly, that it received, that it does receive adequate financing. Adequate financing, adequate resources, so that we can get. And there is, all you have to do, I was watching recorded that program that's on RT on Sunday night. Absolutely fantastic series, and there is some RT does some fantastic work. TG4 does some of the programs on TG4. Fair Scale every week, and that is, good public broadcasting. But it seems to have, there's all you hear about and listen about is it can't afford, and obviously what the board hasn't been doing, it hasn't been adhering to Section 87 of the Act. They haven't been represented the interest of the viewers and listeners, and that is in the legislation. And how paying up these massive payouts to board members represents the best interests of viewers and listeners, complies with the Broadcasting Act, I don't know.
And Catherine, just finally, before we take a break and move on, there is a seemingly an issue with accountability in this country, and I can see why people aren't surprised anymore by certain things, because be it in the health service, be it in broadcasting, and in many areas, people are disgusted by what's going on, how it went on, and as you quite rightly pointed out in your first contribution, no laws were broken, but for some that's not simply enough. It's well, how can Dee Forbes okay stuff left, right, and centre, and it to be okay that she can, and I hope she is well, but that she can not come before the Public Accounts Committee, not answer any questions. At the same time, some might say she's been thrown under a bus, that everything's being put on her, and so on and so forth. it comes back to the accountability in the sense in this country that really you can do whatever you like, and often the better resourced you are, the freer you are to do whatever you like.
Yeah, and it's where the buck stops, isn't it? And I mean, she was the Director General. The buck should have stopped with her and the board. And just to go back to some of the things I said earlier, like just for the avoidance of clarity on it, I totally agree with Michael. I mean, I wasn't for a second suggesting that the board had done their job well, or that it wasn't. Like, I wasn't extremely annoyed, and we all have become a bit tired of it. But I was just making the point that legally, I felt that the gun was being pointed in the wrong direction if it's being pointed at her, because the executive board and the non-executive directors, it's their responsibility. That's the point I was making. So I just wanted to clarify that. But there's a lot of fear in Leinster House with committees where they bring people in, since the Angela Kearns experience. And, I think there's a reluctance, and the compellability issue is very real, and I think there's fear among civil servants that could happen again if they came down heavier. And it's very, very frustrating, but there is no potential route to serious accountability here as far as I can see.
Yeah, okay, listen, thank you very much indeed for that. You're listening to the voices of Catherine Noon, lawyer and former Fine Gael senator, Michael Harrison, retired Garda inspector, and Barbara Ucahal of Líonra Letterkenny. Back with more after these.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Hello, Jedward speaking. Sorry, Edward speaking.
Hey, bro. I'm glad you picked up.
Who is this?
It's me, John. I'm literally outside in the landing.
I don't know any Sean. Lose my number. Hello?
Edward, don't hang up. I'm sorry for saying a handyman could fix the gas boiler. Please forgive.
Always use a registered gas installer, or you could risk everything. Find one at rgi.ie.
It's time to transform your smile with the help of Blue Poppy Dental, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Their expert team offer orthodontics, teeth whitening, implants and composite bonding all in-house. Start your journey by calling 074 97 40404 or easily book your appointment online at a time that suits you through their user-friendly patient portal. Available anytime, anywhere at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Gift vouchers available.
Buying or moving home can be a strange mixture of excitement and stress. So the last thing you need is worrying about conveyancing. Time to call McElhenney & Associates. They'll move that property transaction along swiftly, make sure everything's in order, and prevent any nasty surprises. Residential, commercial, leasing, or voluntary transfer. Call today on 074 917 5989 or find us online. We'll do the paperwork, you do the wallpaper. McElhenney & Associates, Solicitors, Stranorlar. How can we help?
Highland Radio are celebrating another birthday. We are inviting you to join us for our Highland Radio Birthday Bash on Tuesday the 19th of March in the Mount Errigal Hotel. Joined by the one and only Margot, myself, David James, plus special guests Brendan Quinn, Declan Ernie and Patrick Feeney. This is a night not to be missed. Tickets on sale now. Why not treat yourself to one of our package deals, including dinner, bed and breakfast, plus your ticket to the show. For more information, visit the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. We'll see you at the Highland Radio Birthday Bash.
All right, there's a road traffic collision that has occurred in the last wee while on the Lifford Road. It's on the Letterkenny side, turning off to Rafo. A number of motorists have contacted us to say just to avoid, if possible, it's at the edge of Murlough Chapel, I'm being told, so hopefully everyone's okay there. But just if you are on the road, please be very careful. On a recent 6 o'clock show on Virgin Media Television, Ivan Yates was asked if he speaks Irish when the show's host, Brian Dowling, and Fionnuala J interviewed native speaker Sheila Shoiga. Yates said, "I couldn't be arsed to learn Irish and I'm sorry if you're offended." Dowling then got up from his seat and shook Yates' hand, adding that he too was no Irish. Yates continued, "All this money we put into it, there's only 16,000 people in the country speaking it now." He added that he's not against it though. Was this a public showing of what many might feel, I wonder? Can the language be saved? Well, one person at the front of that battle to save and enhance and grow the language, of course, is Barbara Ucahal. what was your reaction to those views? And I suppose the reaction to those to that programme, Barbara?
I think, Ivan Yates likes to stir the pot. That is what he does. But the whole thing escalated. I think Brian Dowling's response to it was hugely problematic, but I think the follow-up to it as well was problematic, because the next day Brian Dowling laughed it off. Might have ruffled a few feathers. And then Ivan Yates doubled down on what he had said. And when there was a reaction to the whole item on the 6 o'clock show, and he got pushback on it, he described the people who raised those complaints as hateful people, absolute zealots and bullies. Now, it's interesting that he can give it out, but by God, he cannot take it. So whenever anybody pushes back against him, he becomes very defensive. I think it showed a huge lack of respect, not just for the Irish language, but for Sheila Shoiga as well. She was there as a guest. When she began to speak in Irish, Brian Dowling piped up, are we going to get subtitles? And I think it's really sad. I was reading some of the stuff that Sheila Shoiga said just afterwards, and she was saying, she's just so bored with this conversation. And I think she's right. It just gets a bit exhausting to listen to people giving off about the Irish language, when my experience in my role as Cordéir Planalachanga here in Letterkenny is that there's such a buzz, there's such energy about Irish. I mean, at the moment we have over 100 people doing Irish classes with us. Now, they have not been marched in to those classes and made to do them. These are people who want to do Irish. People who maybe did Irish in the past, people who are total beginners, some of whom have come from other countries, people who are quite fluent but want to improve just the richness of their language. We have people who have additional needs, started a class in Donegal Horizon there the other day and are absolutely loving it. So there's a positivity about Irish that really clashes with what Ivan Yates is saying and with Brian Dowling's reaction. And I think it really gives us an insight into how deep that colonial mindset is, where we still think it's acceptable to see Irish as being of no value, of having no purpose. For so many people, Irish is a connection with our identity, with who we are, with where we are. If you look now in East Belfast, people in a staunchly loyalist community who are learning Irish because they've realised that their own identity is more complex and that Irishness is actually part of it and the Irish language is part of it. And so they are beginning to embrace the Irish language and learn it as well, because it gives them an access into that part of who they are.
Is it niche,
and even just the place names around them.
But Barbara, is it niche that it's kind of cool to learn Irish? So the numbers that you're talking about are fantastic, but modest, I suppose, in the wider scale of things. Is it mainstream? Sort of the love of the language, the wish to learn it, even though not everybody can or is learning it, or is it sort of a niche thing that people see as an interesting hobby?
No, I don't think it is just a niche thing, and I think yes, there is a difference. Now, Ivan Yates' figures, I'm not sure where he pulled those out of. In the census, there were 72,000 people, not the 16 that Ivan Yates mentioned. 72,000 people who were talking about speaking Irish on a daily basis outside of the education system. And there were over 195,000 who said that they had very good Irish. Now, again, yes, those figures are only small. We want them to be a lot bigger than that. But people's positivity towards Irish is infinitely higher than that. And we did some research recently. And, we asked people how important it would be to them that there would be more Irish seen and heard around Letterkenny, and kind of out of 5. And the average was 4.4.
Yeah.
Now, 64% of people were telling us, absolutely, 5 out of 5. So even if they don't speak it, and that's something that we notice that, even if I go into shops, I'm very inclined to, throw in a few bits of Irish. And people will respond. So many people will respond. It might only be a phrase, or they might get into a conversation. But there is a sense of people are delighted to use the Irish.
I think too, what people from outside of Ireland, people that come and visit Ireland, would be shocked that this conversation's even happening. If you know what I mean, they'd be going, what? They can't imagine it would ever happen in Spain or France or Italy or whatever. Catherine, I mean, like, Ivan Yates is an antagonist. That's what he does. And part of his shtick on News Talk was to be anti-Donegal. So we're well used to him up here, right? And, you know, he's looking to drive listeners and ears to his podcast. So I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not giving him a pass on this, but I mean, he's kind of, I think really what he's done is pulled the curtain back maybe on a conversation and started a conversation. But I mean, what's your take on the general chit chat about the language that has come from this exchange?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably, like you say, it's a conversation starter. It's exactly what you'd expect from Ivan. He's a man I know pretty well, and you know, that's how he rolls. I've often been on his program. As you say, he's provocative, and that's what he does. So I think Brian Dowling's reaction was kind of petty and just jumping on a little bandwagon, or you know, I didn't see the television show live, but I've read the commentary. You know, I just think it's a repeated circular conversations that happened over many decades. I mean, I'm personally proud of the Irish language. Do I speak it on even a monthly basis? No, I don't. I mean, I tune in. I don't turn off Newark when it comes on, and I'd listen and make sure I still understand, you know, a large percentage of it. I went to the Gaeltacht when I was young. You know, I'm proud of the Irish language, and I probably fall into a category of people that Barbara describes as positive towards the language and can speak it okay. But you know, it doesn't really affect the majority of people's daily lives. So whether we like it or not, Ivan is tapping into a sentiment that some people do.
So should we continue to fund and encourage its growth? Quite a bit of money goes into you know, promoting and trying to grow the Irish.
It's part of our heritage, and you know, it's our language. And I think the fact that 195,000 people speak it very well, given the difficult environment, for want of a better phrase, for those who wish to speak Irish, in the sense that most people don't. So mind you, every company you call on the phone, they do give you the option to speak to them through Irish. I often wonder, if you did press 7 for Irish, would you actually get to speak to somebody in Irish? But no, I mean, we do need to resource our heritage and the Irish language. You know, it's part of our lived heritage. You know, we're not talking about history here. It's daily life for some people. So in the context of stuff we spend money on, I don't think it's unreasonable to spend money on the Irish language.
Michael Harrison.
No, I don't disagree with any of the last two. It's an embarrassment, the level of Irish, you know, that we do speak. Myself speaking for myself on an individual level, learned at a school, and whatever reason you get into a certain stage of your adulthood and you lose interest in it. And then, you know, I do Spanish twice a week, and I love learning Spanish. I was at the Spanish class last week, and like Barbara was saying, there was a lady there who's in the class who's not from the, you know, traditional Irish background, in over 60, who has started learning Irish in Derry, and she absolutely loves it. She absolutely, and I was completely embarrassed. I said, what is this? And, you know, you think back, this is our culture. This is who we are. We are, we are Irish, and Irish is our language. And it would be an absolute embarrassment for us to lose it, to let it go into decline. And we must do everything possible to encourage just a simple speaking of it. And it's something that I have been looking at, just to find out, or, you know, where you can go into a class and just speak it. I'll be in touch with you by C-Wave, and I definitely will be in touch with you, because it is something, you know, like, as I said, I've learned Spanish from scratch. I now can go into a pub and ask for a Heineken Zero. I don't know if I could do it in West Donegal. Okay. That's the truth. You know, so that's the difference. And, you know, how my Irish has although I think just actually came to my head, I think it actually could. You know, it is there, and it is just to waken it up. It is there, it's just to waken it up. But, you know, it is our culture. It's who we are.
See, Barbara, is this part of the problem in how we phrase it and have the conversation about retaining our culture, because an awful lot of the conversation at the moment, I'm not going to stray into that really, is some would say that kind of language is being used in context or being misappropriated. I just wonder if we struggle really to, be an open, welcoming country, but also actually, promote and enhance the culture, so to speak. I'm not phrasing that fantastically, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. I
do. And I think there is no conflict between being an open and welcoming culture and celebrating who we are. I don't think there's any conflict there at all. And I think that's reflected in the fact that even here, we have people who are Indian, who are Polish, who are American, who are, Filipino, from whatever background, who are now learning the Irish language because they want to be part of that and they want to be able to speak the language. I was speaking to a gentleman who is from Nigeria who was saying to me he has been learning Irish, and it was when he began to learn the language that he encountered the soul of the country. That so much of who we are is tied up in our language. Mm-hmm. The Irish language has incredible depth and beauty, and it does give us a sense of who we are. I mean, even just look at the place names around you. If you don't have Irish to understand where they're coming from, most of them are gobbledygook because they're transliterations. They're English forced onto what's actually an Irish name. So even our sense of place is rooted. And I mean, we would have a lot of people who come from other countries who will express that disbelief. Why is there not more Irish spoken here?
Yeah.
So they want to encounter it.
That's why I'm crying. That's why I was trying to sort of suggest if it's a wider thing, even talking about our history or certain events or how we frame the family or whatever it might be, sometimes we're very careful with how we describe it, or we're almost apologetic, or we don't really want to talk about it. And I'm just wondering if this is, things that happened 1, 2, 3, 400 years ago are still shaping how we think as a nation and as a people now.
Absolutely.
It doesn't just go away in a generation. It's
And that's why I'm talking about this need to decolonize our minds. If you asked many people who will give off about Irish and it's of no value and we shouldn't learn it, we should get rid of it. And if you said to them, okay, would you put on an England rugby shirt for when Ireland are playing England in the Six Nations? And they'd be horrified.
I think Ivan would say yes, just to
maybe maybe he would, just to wind people up. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that linguistically, that's what they're prepared to do.
Yeah.
And it is that level at which the impact of colonization, if you're going to colonize a people, take away their language, because then they don't know who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a recapturing of the Irish language. And it's not done in an aggressive way, but it is done in an assertive and a proud way to say, this is core to who we are, and we're more than happy to share this with other people and to celebrate this language and to have a real sense of the importance of language and of minority languages, and to reach out to other people.
I think we should, regardless of what I think, but it shouldn't really matter what I think. But anyway, I just think we should get past. I think it should be accepted, right, that Irish language is the language of Ireland, that it is important, and that any country should try and retain its language, its history, its that's accepted,
that should be
and
a
then
given.
that's the given, and then from there we start to how do we get to use it, how does it become more relevant, rather than saying, well, should we just use the English that we have because they gave it to us.
And don't forget how handy it is to have Irish when you're abroad or you're in a taxi abroad and you want to say something to one of your family members, and you can say it in Irish. I've done that so many times over the years, and it happened to a friend of mine that she was chatting away about something in Irish, and then an Irish fella got up on the train beside her and said Slánanish.
Michael's just in the back of the taxi randomly ordering Heineken 0.0, I think. Okay, so
Brian Friel's translation is well worth reading. It's a very small play, but it's very well worth reading from the point of view of the point that that Barbara was making about place names. And it's very interesting how the place names, some of them are very accurately represented in English, and some of them are just gobbledygook, as Barbara said. It's a good read if anyone was looking to delve more into it.
Okay, stay where you are. Greg, none of us have signed a contract with RTE, and we should not be paying for a station that is one-sided and doesn't give fairness to everyone and all repeats and rubbish, they say. RTE is running the company the same way the government are running the country. There's a flood of free cash which is being spent foolishly. No one's taking responsibility for it, and in the end, the average working man and woman who's paying highly will pay the price for this high, foolish spend. Fair play if you like Irish, but not everyone has the same graph for it. I went to an Irish-speaking school from an English school at the age of 15. God, I had the worst teacher, so I had a terrible experience. Learning Irish in school is completely different to going to an Irish class in the evening. Learning Irish in school, it's basically shoved down your throat. And last one just before break, another scandalous payoff in RTE, 450k, when ordinary decent people are taken to court every week for not paying the TV licence. Two different laws for people in this country.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Details of Interim Acres payment revealed. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out how much and when you will get your delayed payment. €250,000 worth of tractor GPS units stolen in just 10 days. We investigate. Farmers brace for hike in water charges. Teagasc sounds alarm bell on dairy costs as co-op milk prices differ by €180 per cow. More farmer protests on the way. And find out what Sinn Féin is planning for farmers in our exclusive interview.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
In 1951, Michael and Maureen O'Hara baked their first loaf in Foxford, County Mayo. Now O'Hara's is launching Baker 51 in their honour. An authentic sourdough loaf made pure and simple with no added yeast. 72 years in the baking. One bite and you'll see why true taste takes time.
Are you ready to elevate your driving experience? Look no further than iMotors, your only Nissan dealership in the Northwest. The Nissan X-Trail has been crowned Large SUV of the Year. That's right, it's not just an SUV, it's an award-winning experience on wheels. Available in 4-wheel drive and a 7-seater. Visit us today at imotors.ie to find out more.
Choosing the perfect gift is not easy. You wanted to show how much you care and how much you value others. So what if you could give a gift that could fix a broken heart, even save a life? When you leave a gift in your will to the Irish Heart Foundation, you do just that. Please call 01668 5001 or visit irishheart.ie so no hearts are broken by preventable heart disease and stroke.
Connor here from Irwin Expert Electrical, home to Ireland's largest LG TV display, now with a further 10% off all models, with a huge selection of top household electronics featuring energy-efficient Bosch appliances, premium brands such as Sage, Electrolux, cooker taps and more, interest-free layaway service available. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Apparently, there is fury in Fianna Fáil over the decision to appoint Junior Minister Thomas Byrne as Director of Elections for the forthcoming referendums on the family and carers. Two Ministers of State, Anne Rabbitte and Mary Butler, were both overlooked for the position of overseeing the party's campaign for the removal of the controversial Women in the Home clause in the Constitution. But why should a man not be the Director of Elections on this issue? Or do you agree with those that believe it should have actually been a woman? Michael, step into this minefield with me.
I can't believe you asked me that question. You're bad. Absolutely so wrong. If the reason for it should be a man, well, number one, I really don't know what the referendum is about. I've kind of looked at it. The only articles I've read is Michael McDowell's article, and it was kind of, worryingly, but whether it should be a man or should be a woman, I honestly, at this stage, I would have to be honest and say, I don't see why it can't be a man. But then I'm speaking from a point of ignorance because I haven't studied in any great detail what the referendum
I think really
is
the
about.
question is, you could argue, and it probably is the case, that these referendums primarily affect women. And people say, well, then it should be a woman heading up the... but if we got to the point now, and that's the question, whereby really positive discrimination or however one might frame it, and a moment to correction on the terminology. So we need to move past that now. That of course, men have an interest in women, in carers, being carers. Men are affected by this as well. I myself was on my own caring for my children for a long time. Not really perhaps recognised in the Constitution. That's not an argument one way or other, but we as fellas have skin in the game as well.
No, definitely. Yeah. And like yourself, Greg, I was in a similar situation, and it's tough, and I honestly can't. I'll stick to my same answer. I don't see why it can't be.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's it, Catherine.
Because there's a lot of men out there that were in the situation you were in it. I was in it. Where I raised my 2 teenage boys up to the adulthood on my own, and you get no recognition under the Constitution. So anyway, it's back to the 2 ladies from me anyway.
I suppose I'm somebody who's actually had experience, of being involved in a referendum campaign, and the 8th Amendment, I chaired the parliamentary committee on that and was very involved in the subsequent referendum. And I would have welcomed more men to be involved in that conversation. There's a lack of male voices, and often you'd want more male voices. Now, again, Thomas Byrne is somebody I know personally, and I think he'd do a good job as Director of Elections. I think that it'll be hard to get people's attention on this referendum, because I don't think it's one that people feel hugely strongly about. But I would say I'm with Michael on this one. I don't see an issue with Thomas Byrne being the Director of Elections. I think he'll probably do a fine job.
And the thing about these referendums as well, and Michael McDowell's comments were referenced in that, and when we actually start debating the ins and outs of it, and I think we start that on Monday, is that Michael McDowell's concerns is how the outcome might be, not the actual referendum itself, but how it might be interpreted or how it might be challenged or what it might lead to, which is not really. It's difficult enough to sort of get the conversation started, but really what the debate's going to be around, I think, is what doors this might open, what the consequences might be. It's going to be a tough one to debate, Catherine, I think.
I think so. And Michael McDowell is probably at a level of analysis of the potential change that most people won't engage in. In my experience, people tend to take a slightly more simplistic look at it. And, I heard Ronan Mullen, who I've batted swords with a good few times on other things, talking about it the other day on the radio. And he again had gone to a lot of places that, in all these scenarios that, to my mind, are quite unlikely to ever, be an eventuality. But
there are people in the last referendum that we had. There are people that argued that it will lead to a certain scenario that wasn't actually necessarily being voted on at the time, and they will feel vindicated in that position. So that's also going to be in the back of people's minds.
Back of their minds, yeah. I mean, it's I don't think an awful lot's going to turn on it, to be honest, in real terms. And I think the point that you made about raising your children on your own, and Michael as well, that's very valid. And carers need recognition, and it's no harm to have that recognition in the Constitution.
I'll bring Barbara in, Michael, but I think you wanted to just come back in there.
Yeah, the thing about it here, Greg, is what some people tend to forget is we are very, very lucky in this country in that we have a very neutral Supreme Court that can really adjudicate and have adjudicated on difficult problems like that. And a lot of the scaremongering that I've read, and as Catherine says, we have safeguards in this country, to look after. So I wouldn't, I would agree with Catherine on that this is, but it'll definitely be difficult to engage people on this.
Barbara.
Whenever I saw this, I was a bit surprised, really, because to presume that there is a problem with this, to presume that the Director of Elections for a referendum on family and carers should be a woman, to my mind, is actually very sexist, because it's suggesting that men do not, as you say, don't have any skin in the game, aren't just as involved in terms of family and care. I think it's inherently sexist to presume that role has to be taken by a woman. And I really would have, I wouldn't have any concerns about Thomas Byrne being the director of the referendum, or the process for this. But what I do have concerns about is that I think this referendum, the wording has a lack of clarity. I think they've rushed it through for some symbolic thing of having it on International Women's Day. I think it would have been better giving it a bit more time, exploring the wording a bit more. I think, as Catherine says, I think the turnout for this one's going to be extremely low, because I don't think people really have engaged with this or maybe have explored the issues. And I think there are going to be people saying, this is so woolly that I don't actually know. Yes, I might think the Constitution needs to be changed, but I'm not sure about what this is actually going to do, what this wording is really going to mean. And so I think they've made a bit of a mess. I think who the director is the least of their worries. I think they should have waited. I think they should have spent more time. They should have looked at the wording.
The only thing I'd say with any referendum, it's really only the next few weeks where people will engage, so if there's any chance, this is only really the start of it. I mean, he's just been appointed as director of elections. And the other thing, and it's just following on for something that Barbara said there, like in politics, what I found is women's issues, children's issues, all these types of issues were invariably addressed by women. And, thank God a lot of us were there, because, the outcome might have been a bit different on some things. But it is actually a good thing to have a man lead on it, in a sense. And I totally agree with Barbara's comments there on that as well.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, the danger is it not, is that we as the public don't actually fully inform, especially when things are a little bit complicated, don't fully inform ourselves of all the different ins and outs. Because what happens is now is, I think an awful lot of people have a go-to person that they see as an authority on something. So it could be your Ronan Mullins, or it could be whomever it might be. It could be Aintu, it could be Fianna Fáil, it could be Fine Gael. And you go, right, I don't really get this, so I'm going to sort of go with what this person believes.
Or it can be an opportunity to give the government a lashing, because they're looking to pass the referendum. Obviously, they're the ones proposing it. So if it fails, it's bad for the government. So simplistically, some people just decide they'll give the government a hammering.
Now, I'm not sure. And in terms of, I suppose, how it's how we adhere to or interpret or whatever are responsible into Europe, Michael. The majority of people that contact this show, and I do understand it's a small amount of people contact radio shows, that's just a fact, whether it's local or national, it's in the single digit percentages, and it's often those most motivated to do so in their views. But a lot of people really want a referendum on immigration. They're not they're not interested, it seems, in great numbers about this. They want referenda on the big issues of the day. And listen, a lot of the elections over the next year or two are going to be fought basically probably on issues like immigration and the issues that surround that.
I think the argument on immigration, it's okay argue, saying that is a national issue, but it's an European issue. Like we are part of the European Union, and an awful lot of our legislation comes from the laws that are based on European law. So the government's hands, whichever government is in power, their hands are going to be tied by legislation that is drafted in Brussels. And Ireland, we just can't go on a solo run on this. We just can't.
Yeah, but there are opt-outs and what have you as well.
But it is difficult. It is difficult. Like this legislation is, it is there in Europe. And it probably is something, and I know it is on the European agenda. Certainly, it's just not Ireland, that is having a problem with this, but it is something that the European Union is going to have to revisit. I don't know whether Schengen has worked. Whether Schengen, with the free crossing the borders. I know Ireland's not a member of it, but around Europe, I don't know whether the Schengen experiment has worked in Europe, and certainly from a European level, that immigration is certainly it is going to have to be revisited. But
I do think it's quite interesting. I know a lot of the language that was, derided a couple of years ago is now actually being used in the Dáil and in parliaments around Europe. So things seem to be changing. The conversation seems to be switching. I'm going to take a break. Either of the two, you want to come back in on that, Catherine or Barbara? Are you happy enough for me to go to the break?
Happy enough, yeah.
All right,
No,
thanks.
that's
All right, back shortly.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
At SEAT, we created the Tarraco so people could enjoy an SUV with 7 seats. Then we made it so good looking that everyone kept saying, "Oh my, what is that? It's stunning." Then we got to wondering, what if we made it even better? So now you can get a limited edition 7-seater Tarraco SE Tech with stunning 18-inch alloys, intelligent park assist, electronic hands-free tailgate, and comfortable heated front seats and steering wheel. The Tarraco SE Tech, our best SUV, just got even better. Search SEAT Tarraco.
Well, Grace, how are you today? I'm good. I've just been down to the Made to Measure Fireplaces showroom in Creasla. They have an incredible selection of over 40 colours for kitchen worktops. And guess what? For a limited time, they're offering a 40% discount on any electric fire when you purchase a worktop there. 40%? That's an amazing deal, Grace. Absolutely. And trust me, if the discount alone doesn't sway you, their huge selection of fireplaces, stoves, wood pellet burners, beams and stone cladding certainly will.
Contact Made to Measure Fireplaces Creasla on 074 91 38 365 on Facebook, Instagram and on ntmfireplaces.ie.
In southern Malawi, communities are facing extreme floods followed by extreme dry spells. Melita is a single mother who farms to support her 4 children. In 2023, a record cyclone ripped across her farm, with rainwaters destroying crops and damaging her home. When her farm faced a withering dry spell later in the year, Melita was left wondering how she would access safe water or feed her family again. Throcra is working with Melita and thousands more like her to adapt to the devastating effects of climate change. You can help them build a more secure future. Visit throcra.org or call 1-800-408-408. Together, we can make a lasting difference. This extreme weather report on Highland Radio was brought to you by Throcra.
Don't miss David James and his band this Sunday night in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny from 9 p.m. Come along for a great night's dancing. Don't miss David James this Sunday at the Clanry.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
All right, mainly cloudy or misty to begin with this morning with scattered showers. The showers, though, will ease through the day with brighter sunny spells developing later. Highest temperatures of 9 to 12 degrees in light to moderate westerly winds becoming light variable later. Danny says, good morning, Greg. I think the €160 is good value for the sport alone on RTE. Just a pity they can't run the company properly. Another, remember the promises that abortion would be rare. Now we're heading towards 50,000 terminations by the end of 2024. Wouldn't believe a word the chattering classes say. I kind of half referenced that a little earlier on. Catherine, do you take that caller's point? I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but they would. The argument.
I don't believe a word that what says.
No, it says the chattering classes. That's not a reference to use. It's just classes. But you know,
I mean, listen. You know, I didn't necessarily want to bring the abortion issue onto your radio program this morning, but you know, abortion the numbers weren't being recorded. It wasn't happening in the country. We allowed it in the country, but people had to get on a plane and go to a different country to have it carried out. So, you know, there are numbers now, and there always were. You know, and that's the reality. And women are being treated with more dignity and respect than they were before.
The caller says the referendum will allow immigrants to bring aunts, uncles, cousins to join them in Ireland. If that's what you want, vote yes. Barbara, I mean, I think you know, people obviously, I think Michael McDowell suggested something.
That's a very confused person.
Has to be a woman in charge. Why not go the full hog and only allow women to vote? Well, I don't think there's anyone on this call actually has an issue with a fella being the head of elections. Ivan Yates is a poor man's Piers Morgan. You could say Piers Morgan's a poor man's Ivan Yates. I think Ivan does it better than Piers, but anyway. But unfortunately, the Irish language will never be spoken again as an everyday way of living, but it is our heritage and should be protected. Is that reality, Barbara? I mean, you know, over generations, things change and countries change, and the direction of traffic may not always be the same. Is it possible that Ireland will be spoken as an everyday language? Catherine doesn't agree in the future.
But the thing is, there are so many people living in this country for whom Irish is their language of everyday life.
Yeah.
So it's not in any way true to say that that's some point in the future. I mean, my daughter's now living in Belfast, and everything she does in terms of her work, in terms of the GAA team she plays with, in terms of her social life, is all through Irish in the Gaeltacht area of West Belfast. If you look at, the Gaeltacht areas around this country, if you look at my work day to day, yes, at the moment I'm speaking English to you because...
That's my fault, not yours.
But, people are speaking Irish as a reality of daily life throughout this country. And I think we need to respect the reality of that. Now, the chances of everybody in the country all speaking Irish all the time, no, I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, nor is that of English anymore.
No.
If which is not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's having a go, but it is the truth. Barbary Cahill, thank you very much for your time. Really loved having you on the show as always. Have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend. Also, Catherine Noon, great to have you on the show. Take care of yourself.
Thanks.
All right, and I didn't get a final word from you, Michael, after the last break, but it's always a pleasure, and thank you very much for your time today.
Take care, Greg.
Bye-bye, Slán. Okay, we'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Across a wide range of categories, the 2024 .ie Digital Town Awards are a chance to showcase your town's digital project. Apply now at digitaltownawards.ie. Brought to you by .ie, Ireland's National Domain Registry. Terms and conditions apply.
Save on carving and laminate essentials at Homeland. Gas Buddings debutter now €165. Milk Bar 10 compartment feeder now €179. Nutrius Ovigold and Bovigold mineral range, buy 2.5 litre, get 1 litre free. And there's 10% off the FlexiThin Classic waterproof jacket and trousers in store and online at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available. Offers available until March 31st.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Looking to upgrade your home? Ready to dine in style and lounge in comfort? Well, get ready for our sofa and dining sale happening now at Easy Living Furniture. Score incredible deals on sofas, dining sets and more. From sleek and modern to cosy and traditional, we have the perfect pieces to match your style and budget. The spectacular sofa and dining sale is now on in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
How would you like to go on the holiday of a lifetime? Then why not join us for the Highland Radio Hoolie in sunny Salou? Spend 7 nights in the sun with some of Ireland's top entertainers, including Robert Mazzell, Jim Devine, Margot, Claudia Buckley, and many more, with live music all day, every day. Staying in the beautiful 4-star Sol Costa Jurata Hotel, this is a trip not to be missed. Book now by calling Country Music Tours on 074 9119 955 or email info@countrymusictours.ie. We'll see you in sunny Salou.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. Donegal County Council is to carry out a road safety survey at the Glen Keogh Gary Harry Junction on the outskirts of Letterkenny. It's with a view towards having increased safety signage and possibly a raised safety embankment put in place. Motions were moved by Municipal District Cathaoirleach Kevin Bradley and Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly after a number of incidents in which cars slid on the junction and ended up in a nearby field, particularly during icy weather. Officials said the junction will be referred to the road safety engineer to carry out an assessment, but in response to one suggestion, warned a barrier might worsen rather than solve the problem. Councillor Kelly says review is urgent in light of recent incidents.
We've seen an incident there just recently where there was 2 or maybe 3 cars that landed on top of one another. It will be referred to the road safety engineer to carry out an assessment. So this is positive news. I feel this needs to be acted upon sooner rather than later. It could be down to a relation of the surface of the road, and if that's the case, it's important to get a safety assessment carried out.
Sinn Féin have announced the 3 candidates who will contest the local elections for the Lifford-Stranorlar Municipal District this June. Current Councillor Gary Doherty, former Councillor Tony McDade and newcomer Dakota Nick Manaman have been selected. The announcement was made in the Villa Rose Hotel. Speaking at the event, Donegal Deputy Pierce Doherty says each candidate represents a different generation and can bring something to the area. Gardaí are attending the scene of a collision on the Lifford-Letterkenny Road. The incident happened on the Letterkenny side this morning. Gardaí say the road remains blocked at this time and inquiries are ongoing. Meanwhile, a man in his 20s has been hospitalised after a separate collision in Lifford last night. It happened at approximately 9 p.m. and it's believed the injuries sustained are non-life-threatening. Gardaí say investigations are ongoing and the road has since been cleared. The Taoiseach just says the Oireachtas has to hear from the former Director General of RTE in relation to all issues related to the broadcaster. Dee Forbes has yet to appear before either Oireachtas Media Committee or the Public Accounts Committee since the various scandals were revealed. Ms Forbes was invited to the Media Committee earlier this week but couldn't attend citing illness. Taoiseach Jamil Martin says every effort should be made to ensure Dee Forbes can provide evidence to the Oireachtas.
I also think that we have to respect people in terms of ill health, and if people are not well enough to attend. That said, maybe other avenues could be explored as to how evidence could be taken in that respect, or presentations could be taken.
4,800 homes, businesses and farms near Bunbeg and Tammany will soon have high-speed connectivity as National Broadband Ireland begin works. The current number of Donegal properties connected on the government's National Broadband Plan currently sits at 6,000. Current works to include Annagry, Derrybeg and Carrowkeel, with a view for the areas to be fully connected between October and December of this year. Israel has come under attack after Hezbollah launched dozens of rockets in a retaliatory strike over the border into Israel following Israeli strikes that killed 10 people in the south of Lebanon. The attack comes as the UN's emergency relief chief urged Israel to heed repeated calls from international community to step back from a ground invasion of Rafah and its dangerous consequences and possible slaughter. Martin Griffiths says nowhere is safe for the people in Gaza.
It is an illusion to think that there is some wonderful part of Gaza where you can go and be safe from the war. The thing I fear most is that this war will now spread into that pocket in the south around Rafah with a huge number of people, 5 times the normal number that live there in an already densely populated area.
Looking now to weather, mainly cloudy or misty to begin this morning with scattered showers. Showers easing through the day with bright or sunny spells later. That's with highs of 9 to 12 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 11 o'clock. The obituary notices this Friday morning, February 16th. The death has taken place of John J.J. Gallagher, John Johnny William Bancroft Talla, Dublin 24, and formerly of Tully Dunlow, County Donegal, reposing at his home this evening from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. Removal on Saturday morning to St Mary's Priority Talla Village, arriving for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass, burial thereafter in Newlands Cross Cemetery. Donations, if desired, to Irish Lung Fibrosis Association. The death has taken place of Charlie Shields, Tarry, Highglen, Carrigart. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on the Meva Parish Facebook page. Family time please from 10 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has taken place of Katie Gallagher, Derry Hassan Downings. Remains reposing at the residence of her sister Mary Gallagher, Dunwell, Terman. Removal from there this morning, going to the Church of St John the Baptist for Requiem Mass at 11 a.m, followed by interment in the Umla Old Cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on the Meva Parish Facebook page. The death has occurred of Charlie Coyle, Isle of Doa, Clonmany. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:40 a.m, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany for Requiem Mass at 10:30, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Charlie's funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time please from 10 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member or McFeely Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Sadie Harkin of Rinboy Fanid and Coatbridge, Scotland. Remains reposing at her late residence at Rinboy Fanid. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St Mary's Church, Fannabolty, with burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Beaumont Hospital, ICU ward, care of any family member or Eamon Scott Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Nan Donaghy, ní Logue, 54 Gortylek Road, Dunnamana, and formerly of Bonds Glen Cloddy, reposing at her son Seamus Donaghy home, 108 Lisnara Road, Dunnamana. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Killeen, Dunnamana at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 11 p.m. tonight. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the Donaghedy Parish YouTube channel. The death has occurred of George People, Latbeg, Ballyheron, Fanid. George's funeral service will be held at Christ the Redeemer Church, Rosnakill, Fanid at 2 p.m. this afternoon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral service will be streamed live on McAteer Funeral Director's Facebook page. House strictly private. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice or Parkinson's Ireland, care of any family member or McAteer Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Sister Loretto McKean, Breda, late of Abbey House, Rathfarnham and Fulcara. Funeral Mass is ongoing in the Church of Annunciation, Rathfarnham, followed by burial in Abbey House Cemetery. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Discover the new Nissan Ariya. Discover 100% electric. Discover Japanese-inspired design that sets it apart. Discover luxury beyond expectation. Discover innovation like you've never known. Discover smooth acceleration, quiet operation, and advanced technology. Discover it today at Nissan dealers nationwide. The new Nissan Ariya from €43,500. Test drive it today and discover outstanding. Nissan, innovation that excites. Dealer delivery and related charges apply.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
Now, you're very welcome back to the programme. Good morning if you're just after joining us. I want to give you a very early opportunity to enter our free competition. It's a fantastic one, and it's courtesy of our friends at the Hollywood Hotel. One lucky winner for the prize includes one night bed and breakfast for two people at the Hollywood Hotel, Bundoran, champagne and chocolats on arrival, a spa treatment in the Hollywood's luxurious spa and orchards for both. Finish off your evening with a 4-course dinner and a bottle of wine in the Watermelon Restaurant, plus full use of the Blue River Leisure Centre swimming pool and Canadian hot tub. And your spa experience includes a private session in the outdoor hot tub and sauna, 60-minute spa treatment, each inspired to give you a captivating night's sleep. After you, well, if you get any sleep. Depends on who you go with. Beginning with a serene back massage, followed by a beautiful, soothing scalp, hand and arm massage. You'll be ready for the labber after that. All right, it's a brilliant prize and comes at a great time of the year too, with all the bills after Christmas and the dark, dank nights and early mornings. Wouldn't it be nice to go and get pampered down in beautiful Bundoran? Here's Canis with a reminder of the details and how you enter.
This week we have a fantastic end of week prize courtesy of the Holyrood Hotel for one lucky winner, which includes one night bed and breakfast for two people at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with champagne and chocolates on arrival, followed by a spa treatment each in the Holyrood's luxurious spa at Orchids. Finish off your evening with a 4-course dinner and a bottle of wine in their Watermelon restaurant, plus full use of the Blue River Leisure Centre swimming pool and Canadian hot tub. Your spa experience includes a private session in the outdoor hot tub and sauna, and a 60-minute spa treatment, each inspired to give you a captivating night's sleep. Beginning with a serene back massage, followed by a beautifully soothing scalp, hand and arm massage. To be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize on Friday, simply answer this question. What city is often called the City of Love and is home to iconic sites such as the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame Cathedral? Text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000.
Okay, so that's a free-to-enter competition for you. Just answer that simple question, where's the Eiffel Tower? And text your name and where you're from to 086 60 25,000. It's your chance to get in. Someone's going to win that today, right? So, as I say, it's a regular text number. WhatsApp it as well, too, if texting digs into your texts. I don't know. I think a lot of people have all-inclusive now. But anyway, we have it all covered one way or t'other. Right, Thomas Byrne couldn't give clarity yesterday on RTE to a barrister on the referendum. I'll be voting no for sure, says a listener. We need to get back to speaking Irish independence from the EU, but there's plenty of countries that I'm not arguing whether we should be independent or not, but I don't see how the two are connected, in that we have countries across Europe, members of the EU, very proud of their language. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael were part of governments that bankrupted this country, believe this listener. Where is the moral obligation on them to return any of their payments? A question for some of you out there, maybe you can answer. Does the hospital in Letterkenny do MRIs? My mum went in by ambulance and they told her that she'd have to be referred by her GP to get an MRI. They can't do it in the hospital. She has to go through Afidia. We tried to go private then, as she's in a lot of pain, but she still needs a GP referral. So what's the situation with MRIs at Letterkenny University Hospital? Please, someone out there knows, let us know. 086 60 25,000. Well, isn't that a perfect example of what could possibly happen if this new hate speech bill passes? If someone gets pushback or challenged on anything, then it's pulled out of the hat. Getting called hate speech will halt everything. We seen it last year with the people speaking out against the migration policy of the government or trans community, etc. We need to stand up against the bill or all debate will be stifled. Now, I, as far as I can see, have seen very robust and very strongly worded at times debate about both migration and trans issues, transgenderism. So I don't see any debate being stifled at the moment. But if that's what you believe, the hate speech bill will introduce, that's perfectly fine. I understand exactly where you're coming from. The Children's Hospital is good value for money when you compare it to the 3.6 billion it's going to take to pay the latest pay increases for public sector workers. At least with the hospital, we're getting something in return. The problem with is capitalism. The higher you go up in the world, the more your profits go up. Hence, Elon Musk earning millions daily. Hence, €450,000 paid out for a post supposed to be redundant yet still needed. And an ordinary RTE worker under-resourced and underpaid. This will never change. This will not change. It's worsening. Elon Musk is a remarkable character to me in that he stands for everything that... in terms of the amount of money he has, the difference he could make in the world if he so wished, and he's actually held up as a man of the people because he's sort of anti-government and anti-mainstream media, and that's it really. Other than that, he just wants money off people so that people will see their comments and so on and so forth, and people adore him. They think he's amazing, but he's a multi-billionaire that's treated his staff very poorly in the past. And as I say, just for people to have their free speech heard. He wants them to pay them, and people pay in their droves. And the same people that pay him the money are his greatest defenders. And yet these are also the people that claim they are the freest of speakers or free thinkers. It's remarkable what's going on. There'll be a book on it down the years and people will be amazed. It's cultish almost to some extent. Apart from anything in the changes to the referendum shall strive to support such provision should frighten a lot of people to start with. Striving is only trying, not doing. As for a man, where is the equality in that? It's not the better person. Is it not the better person for the job, the listener asks. On the language, Gaelic is much more nuanced, ancient language, connected much more to the supernatural. Decolonise yourself. Make it part of your heart. Gael Gaboo, they say. Hi, Greg. Regarding Ivan Yates, it wasn't that he wouldn't countenance using Irish. It was the complete ignorant, near abusive and dismissive way in which he did so. It was barstool language by an ex-Fine Gael minister. But that's his thing again. Not defending him, but you book Ivan Yates. We booked him on this show. Well, which sounds booked him as if we paid him or something. He was plugging a book or plugging a podcast. You know he's going to say something controversial. You know, if you watch a panel of an evening on TV, they know who they're booking. They'll book a person to antagonise others and to get debate going. That's what when you book Ivan Yates, that's what you do. And there's others on the circuit as well. That's what you do. Whenever I was in Galway in the Gaeltacht, they thought that their Gaelga was superior to ours and that we only spoke Scotch Gaelga here in Donegal. What's the best way to get back to learning Irish? Well, we've covered that many times. We'll ask Barbara that question. In 10 years' time, there'll be hardly any English speakers in Letterkenny, never mind Irish, believes the listener. Irish was the national language until it was banned by the English. Irish should be the main language here. We had hedge schools as we weren't allowed to speak Irish. People need to know this. But sometimes we are shy or embarrassed or careful in our language in talking about our history. Greg Nunn, I read that one, and I read that one as well. So we're all up to date on those. Just before we go to a break, I want to play a couple of requests and mention something as well. Could you please wish Noel McLaughlin a happy retirement from AIR after 43 years? Lots of love from his family. And I'd say Noel has seen some changes over the years in terms of technology and how we did things and how we used to do things. Enjoy your retirement, well earned. A very happy 90th birthday to Bernadette Kennedy, who's in Duncanely. Hi, Bernadette. Love coming in from all of your neighbours and all of us here at Highland, of course. Please wish Hugo and Anne O'Donnell a very happy golden wedding anniversary. Lots of love from all the family. Please play this request. Well, they want it now, so we're just about now, a little bit later, but hopefully they're still with us in terms of listening. And I just want to mention a fundraiser that's coming up. Obviously, you'd be familiar with the lightning incident that devastated a number of homes and families in the Newton area. Well, there is a Newton Lightning Fund fundraising cycle, 40 kilometres or 20 kilometres. It's taking place on the 18th, that's Sunday, isn't it? The starting point is Trinity Court, Newton, F93C6RK. 10 a.m. sign-in. 10 a.m. start, sign in 9:30. All proceeds raised on the day go to the Newton Lightning Fund. So if you like to get on the bike, you like to raise a bit of money, that's the event for you. This Sunday, starting at Trinity Court, Newton. Registration or sign in from 9:30. 10 a.m. start. All proceeds go to a very worthy cause. That's the Newton Lightning Fund.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 16th of February. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S15. It's game number 7. The numbers are 81, 62, 57, 28, 14, 64, 65, 49, 68, and finally 36. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com. Relay for Life Donegal is back and is now open for team registrations. As a community, we relay together to celebrate cancer survivorship, remember those we've lost and fight back by raising awareness. Will you join us? Gather your friends and family and enter your team. Register today at DonegalRelayForLife.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Sheridan Security, now introducing Zero Wire Smart Alarm Systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
In the next 15 seconds, you're going to find out where is the best place in the Northwest to buy a bed or mattress. It's Restex Beds and Furniture Mountaintop, Letterkenny, where comfort meets style.
Have you discovered the Donegal Boardwalk Resort Restaurant yet? Open every Wednesday to Sunday. Take leisurely strolls along the boardwalk and treat yourself to light bites, hearty lunches or comforting dinners. Complete your stay in our cosy lodges. Explore more at donegalboardwalkresort.ie. Unwind, dine and savour the moment at Donegal Boardwalk Resort, Carrigart.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
How are you all doing this Friday? I hope you're very well. Looking forward to the weekend. Many of you, of course, will be working the weekend, and hope that all goes well for you as well. Julian Benson is founder of the Julian Benson Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Julian, thanks for your time this morning.
Not at all, Greg. Lovely to be with you.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your foundation and why you established it?
So basically, many years ago, being in hospital for many years, I'd seen families, sleeping on floors, sitting on chairs, having nowhere to stay, and not being able to be with their loved ones when they're really, really sick. And I just vowed, if I ever got an opportunity in life to have a platform to try and do something good and to put a home in place where families could stay, where they travel from all over Ireland, like they come from Donegal, Galway, Limerick, a place, it's a safe haven, Greg, a home where families can come free of charge, rest their head. We'll mind them while their loved ones are sick in hospital. Because the worst thing, Greg, is having seen over the years, imagine your brother, your son or your daughter, and nobody been able to be with them because they couldn't afford to travel or stay in Dublin. I've seen heartbreaking situations. And when you're sick, Greg, all you want is somebody by your bedside. So we established the foundation to help those families in need. As I call them, the unsung heroes, Greg, because sometimes families and carers are forgotten. And I want to look after those people.
And what this does too, Julian, this will provide, when it's up and running fully, this will provide an invaluable service that won't be generally known, but it will mean so much to those that actually avail of it. There are similar sort of initiatives and what have you, but when someone's sick, it's incredibly expensive. When you live in remote parts of the country like we do here in Donegal, as you say, it's... The practicalities of it are really, really difficult. This would make a very difficult time that bit more palatable.
Exactly, Greg. And many families, this is the first of its kind for cystic fibrosis families. There's never been a home for them, a home away from home, as we call it, somewhere for them to stay. And it's really going to this is a game changer, because as you said, it's so expensive to come to Dublin, to park, to stay, to find accommodation. But we're alleviating all the worries and stress for families. And, it's going to make a difference to the family member and to the person who's sick in hospital. And, what we're trying to do is fundraise. We have this big drive coming up now on February the 23rd. And this is our Trades Day, where we're asking people, Greg, anybody, tilers, plumbers, anybody who's got a trade who might be able to help us to come along and register, because this is all about community, Greg, and we can only do it with the help of others.
And it's good that you're speaking to us, Julian. It's good you're speaking to us, because there is a huge amount of Donegal people who work and live and work in the construction industry during the week. Maybe they come home at the weekend, sometimes they don't. You're calling on them, or if they're not listening, maybe their families, to reference this interview to them, to say, look, if an awful lot of people give up a little bit of their time and their skill set, you can get this over the line. The plan is there.
Exactly. And, you know, we're working, we've a wonderful team today. People are coming on board. We've Dermot Bannon with us. He's doing the design. There's a lot of companies with goodwill. But I have to say, there's so many wonderful people in Donegal. Just like you said, Donegal, I have a soft spot myself for Donegal, I have to say. I go to Downings a lot. I love Donegal. And the people are good. And we have people with cystic fibrosis who travel from Donegal, and we'd love the support of anyone, as you say, who might have a company or works for a company, who might just come on board this project and help us. And, Greg, anything big or small, we would absolutely be very grateful for.
Okay, so just to be clear as what we're talking about, there is this building. It's the charity's Tranquility House. It's a Georgian house, and it is to be transformed into 4 separate apartments, so families of people getting treatment for cystic fibrosis can stay free of charge in Dublin, close to the hospital, while their loved one is receiving treatment. Now, there are 1,200 people living with cystic fibrosis in Ireland, and you would know, and because of stuff we've done on this show and elsewhere, that extended hospital stays are commonplace, and this can mean that they are either apart from their support network, their family, or it's incredibly expensive for the support network or family to be in close proximity to the patient. So you can see very clearly the significance of having 4 apartments in Dublin free of charge. What Julian is asking for is people who are traders, have an interest in renovating, people that can supply materials, stuff that can be low cost to the individual in terms of outlay. Obviously, really, a lot of this is about time as well. There's an open day taking place on Saturday the 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And is this, Julian, with a view to getting a crew together to get this project over the line so we can be open, up and running, and relieving pressure on these families and particularly the patients as we head towards the end of the summer?
Exactly. We're bringing everyone together on the 23rd. We will show them the plans. We will show exactly what we need. And then hopefully then everybody can be allocated, if there's a plumber, a tiler, etc. And then we're having a 10-day blitz in April where all the team we gather together are going to go to the house over 10 days and make this project come to life. Right. So it's a big task, but we know we can do it. We know people are kind, and you know what? You don't give up on these projects. It's for a good cause. It's for a legacy project for all cystic fibrosis community. It'll be owned by the community, and that's important. And it's going to make such a difference.
All right, we're talking about carpenters, plumbers, electricians, tilers, painters, sash window repair and restoration, garden landscapers, metal fabricators, interiors, bathroom and kitchens, and on it goes. If you have a skill, a trade, there will be work for you here, and lots of people can get this over the line really, really quite quickly. Is the best place to go for more information jbcff.com?
Exactly, jbcff.com. Go there. All the information is there. And if you don't have a trade or you can't make the day, you can absolutely donate. We need to keep running the house, the cost of running the house. So anything, we will, whatever you can do for us, big or small, jbcff.com is where to go. And and the team would be forever grateful.
All right, see you soon. Thanks, Julian. Julian Benson there, founder of the Julian Benson Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. If you need any further information on that, get in touch with us. We'll pass on that to you. Irish classes in Cara House in Letterkenny, apparently. Thanks very much, Eileen. Appreciate it. Kevin Collins is a regular YouTube watcher. Good to have you on board. Darren's regularly there as well. Darren, thank you so much. Do you watch us on your telly, on your phone? How do you watch us, Darren? Beth, always good to see you with your comments, as it is with Teresa Dolores too, another loyal listener. She says, yes, sure, it is lovely to hear our native language being spoken. I was in Sligo Hospital yesterday and met a family talking, and I spoke in Irish to them, as they say, some blasts. Audrey, good morning. And Charlie, often first in with the comments. Good morning. They're all watching across our social media, which you can do too. We're a radio station, of course, but hey, if you're at home or it suits you, you want to watch the show, feel free to do so. You can watch it back as well. How do you do that, I hear you ask? YouTube, on your smart TV or your Fire Stick, Highland Radio Ireland, and you can watch us there as you have a cup of coffee or do whatever, your housework or whatever you're doing at home. We can go mobile with you on that app as well, and we're on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland News and Sport. Facebook used to do a thing on the smart TVs and Fire Sticks called Facebook Watch, but they got done away with that now. And it's funny, you could see our watchers sort of switch from Facebook over to YouTube because YouTube became more accessible. Now, coming up after 11, That's Entertainment, and I insist that you become involved in this item. We're going to be talking all things theatre, music. It could be, maybe you want to talk about the Dingles wedding. It doesn't matter. Any comments about anything. It's not aloof. There's no noses in the air. Whatever you want to talk about. Maybe you're watching Love Island, The Veterans, or whatever the bloody hell it's called. I never watched that show, so there's no point me watching the All-Stars. Anything at all that you're watching, find entertaining. Any little funny stories about watching TV. Any awkward moments watching TV with family. Anything like that at all. Any funny cinema experiences or at the stage. Whatever it might be. Just get involved. Whatever's in your head, put it in a text and send it in to us, because it's good fun, it's good crack. And I'll tell you what it does is we have a mix of stuff on the show. Obviously we have the very serious, but we actually do, and we don't have a reputation for it, we actually do have quite a bit of fun on this show as well, as I hope regular listeners would know. And then we ease our way into the weekend by, for the last hour of the show, we switch off from the serious stuff in life a little bit and focus on anything that you want to talk about. And we also use it as an opportunity as well to sort of promote and plug artists or events. We have live music coming up between 11 and 12, a live performance as well. Okay, so give it a chance if you don't normally listen between 11 and 12. And that's coming up in about 27 minutes.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
Details of Interim Acres payment revealed. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out how much and when you will get your delayed payment. €250,000 worth of tractor GPS units stolen in just 10 days. We investigate. Farmers brace for hiking water charges. Teagasc sounds alarm bell on dairy costs as co-op milk prices differ by €180 per cow. More farmer protests on the way. And find out what Sinn Féin is planning for farmers in our exclusive interview.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Join us at Angrinan Hotel for our spectacular wedding showcase on Sunday, 25th of February from 1 till 4 p.m. Meet our award-winning wedding team, mingle with top-class exhibitors and view the 3-time top-rated wedding venue in Ulster as voted by weddingdates.ie. Make it special. Make it Angrinan.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Mike Denver in concert with guests Declan Ernie and Brendan Shine at Angrinan Theatre, Letterkenny on Thursday, February 29th. Tickets on sale at Angrinan Box Office. That's Mike Denver with Declan Ernie and Brendan Shine at Angrinan Theatre, Letterkenny on Thursday, February 29th. Don't miss a great concert.
Now, the last elections, I think it was the last elections, or it may well have been the elections before that, there was a situation whereby there was one area where people voted in a town that was upstairs with no lift. I couldn't understand at the time how that could be, that no one thought, right, if someone has, reduced mobility or is in a wheelchair, how are they going to actually be able to exercise their democratic right to vote? And we did speak to someone at the time who was unable to do so, and of course felt disempowered by it on many levels, not least not being able to be involved in the democratic process. Well, let's make sure we don't make those mistakes again. I hear Joan Carthy, National Advocacy Manager at the Irish Wheelchair Association, say, I mean, in this day and age, it's hard to believe, isn't it, Joan, that associations like the IWA have to be calling for barriers to vote for people with a disability to be removed. But we are here. We still have an awful lot of work to do, don't we?
Good morning. Thanks very much for having me on. Yeah, absolutely. We still have so far to go. The numbers of inaccessible polling stations is reducing, but we shouldn't even be having this conversation in 2024. It's not like as if it's a new thing. This has been going on for years. People with disabilities have the right to vote alongside everybody else, and still we're having the conversations around whether somewhere is accessible or not. We're down to 29 buildings that are inaccessible, but they're 29 buildings that hold, each one of them hold quite a few polling booths. So while the number seems low, when you take into account the amount of polling stations within those buildings, it's still significantly high.
I can't imagine what kind of a message it sends or how it must feel and it's not just wheelchair users as well. There's lots and lots of people that aren't in wheelchairs but that might have mobility issues. I can't imagine how dehumanising, and I hope I'm not exaggerating there, it must feel to sort of get a lift or get in your car, get yourself to a polling station and the building's not accessible to you. It must feel horrendous.
It does, and for people with disabilities, and I'm a wheelchair user myself, and I face these kind of barriers on a daily basis, that you arrive somewhere and it's not accessible, or you've been told it's accessible but really it's not. So just kind of putting down a ramp at a front door does not necessarily make a building accessible, nor does it actually make the experience of voting accessible. And we're not only talking about wheelchair users and people with mobility issues taking part in the process. We're talking about people who have an intellectual disability, maybe visually impaired, all of those other things that come into account when you're actually trying to vote and vote privately are all an issue.
And if you can get into the building, and in reality, for the majority of buildings are accessible, are there further challenges when you get in, in terms of the privacy for voting, the polling booths and what have you? Are they broadly friendly?
In many cases, no. The table height, as you'd be well aware yourself, is usually for somebody who's standing up. So if you're a wheelchair user, or even very small of stature, all of these things become an issue in relation to trying to vote privately. We would also have people who have an intellectual disability, and the information for them is not in an easy read format. So that in itself becomes a difficulty. Even before they go to vote, that the information about the candidates is not in an accessible format for those people. So there's lots of things. I suppose the voting process, it's a very ad hoc situation for people with disabilities.
And are there any challenges for the visually impaired? Like what might need to be done to assist them? Now I know you're speaking on behalf of the Irish Wheelchair Association, but you're across all of these issues. I mean, are there challenges there for someone whose sight might not be 20/20 to be able to partake in the process?
Yeah, there is. And there is a lot of work that's after being done in relation to providing the information in Braille on the day. But specifically for local elections and the European elections run side by side, it means that the ballot paper is extremely unfriendly, I suppose, in general for anybody. But then when you're trying to put that into a space where people are using Braille on it, it's the length of the ballot paper itself and the lack of kind of flexibility in the material that has to be used. So for that and somebody trying to do that in private becomes very difficult. So that's still a very big challenge for people with a visual impairment.
Yeah, too. And I think as well as that, before we get to the vote, candidates need to be aware too of the technology that people use in an online space. And I'm thinking particularly of the visually impaired in terms of, you know, you will see sometimes pictures with words on that readers can't necessarily pick up and other ways in which they spread their information. Just to think and say, right, is this broadly accessible? You know, will someone I'm trying to get to vote for me, just their technology just read an image and not the text? You know what I mean? Sort of kind of describe it, but not the words. You know what I mean? It's very important, I think, too, before we get to the actual vote itself, too, that candidates are aware that their literature and what have you needs to be, I think, broadly consumable.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point. And what needs to be remembered is 22% of the population have a disability. That's a huge voting number, and you really need to be reaching them. And making sure that they have the information if you want to be able to get the vote. People with disabilities, we have as much right as anybody else, and we have a lot of needs the same way as everybody else does. So our vote is really, really important. Can
I just, in relation to the importance of that vote, because you talked about a large chunk of the population, and turnout at these elections can be really quite low. It's very important too that people motivate themselves where they can to get out and vote and try and demand change, because there are many boxes that are decided by 1 or 2 or 3 votes. Do you know what I mean? I think it's important that, yes, of course, people have the ability to vote, but also that they have their voice heard as well, particularly in this country whereby, you know, I don't think often maybe enough policy and conversation is had in political circles about people with disabilities. I mean, we've seen just this week, and we're going to cover it again next week, whereby the way in which set teachers are allocated is changing, that a box that was there once to tick if someone had a disability or additional needs, that has been removed. So in some ways, right, which means a third of schools will lose set hours, in some ways we're going backwards, right? So I think it's really important when these issues affect you or you care about them, that you get out and try and affect the change.
100%. And that topic that you've just brought up, I suppose, is another topic that I'd love to have a conversation with you about.
Well, I'll tell you. I think you've made your point very clearly in relation to voting. Talk to me about that issue then, whilst you're there, if you have a view on that and there's something that you want to say. I'm not going to rush you along, Joan.
Yeah, well, I suppose with the standardisation in relation to the needs of children across the board is going to become a huge problem. And even with the exams that they do in primary school, to, you know, that kind of checks on what their ability is really not a very good tester of people's capabilities. But also what it's going to do is it's standardizing everything that is put into the school. And that doesn't work, because we have children on either end of the scale. We have children who need support to bring them up to a level, but we also have children who are exceptionally able within our classes that aren't getting any sort of intellectual support. And that's a huge problem in itself. And if we standardize these, a lot of these kids who are on the other end who are exceptional, if they don't have the right stimulation, they don't usually score very well in these standardized testings. And And even if they do, it'll actually be seen as being, well, they don't have any problems, they don't have any needs. So you're actually ruling out a lot of children on both sides. I feel with the standardizing piece, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on kind of in the background with different pieces of legislation that are being reviewed. There's guidelines out there. There's no real training and education for the teachers in relation to exceptionally able. But I know we're kind of going down a different.
Yeah, but the point is, but I get you. But these changes, right? These changes, it seems to be those that are best informed in this, which is often and always actually is the teachers, the parents, the guardians. That this is a way of not really truly investing in a fully inclusive education system, that it is actually going backwards in that regard. Again, I'm struggling to see any logic to this change that's taking place. I think at the very least, it means that a lot of these children aren't even seen or recognised. It means that schools are put into an awkward situation in allocating SET hours. So there are those that maybe in most need might get the hours, but that means many children of parents that are listening to this show won't get the hours they ordinarily would have got. And if this is allowed to happen, it will very quickly become the norm. And to get this reversed would be very, very difficult. There is a window, would you agree, Joan? There is a window that everyone needs to have their say on this and say, no, we can't go backwards in this regard. It's been admitted in the Dáil, a third of schools will see a reduction in their SET hours. That affects an awful lot of students in this country.
Yeah, and it's incredible that we're just gambling with our children's future. And that's exactly what's happening for children on both ends of the scales. That's exactly what's happening. We're gambling with their future. There is a window. And I think everybody has to have a voice in this. I think it's hugely important that the teachers themselves and the unions, even behind them, are coming out very strongly, that they're on radio stations like this. They're saying that's what's happening is wrong. It just seems to be a very kind of silent piece that's
I'd love to know where the National Parents Council is as well. The last time I heard from them, it was about masks or something or other. Well, what is the National Parents Council actually? I'm not asking you to weigh in on it unless you want to, Joan, but what is it was masks and there was something else that they came in on. I can't remember, but not a word from them. Have I heard a word from them yet? I don't know what that organisation is, but whatever it is, it gives the impression that parents are okay with this. I think the National Parents Council should be joining with others and screaming from the rooftops about this, but I have not heard a dicky bird from them.
Yeah, and we would be with you on that. We would find that it's, like I already said, it's a very silent thing that's happening. It seems to be slipping in, and there's nobody shouting about it. There are some parents groups that are advocates, and I know obviously from both sides, with people who have an intellectual disability and have special needs on that level, and then people who have children who are exceptionally able and have needs on that end. Both are going to struggle big time through this.
All right, Jonathan, thanks for all your time. And I appreciate that you also were able to comment on the second issue. I really do thank you very much indeed for that. Take care of yourself. And just in terms of inclusivity, we often talk about the streaming of the programme for people to watch if it suits them. The reason that was actually initially introduced, the reason why I wanted to do this and was so keen to do it as well, was that there are lots of people who have hearing issues that can't listen to the radio, but they can watch the programme, and both YouTube and Facebook do subtitles. It's not perfect at times, but I do know we do have a lot of people, because they contact me and I speak to them, that actually are able now to keep up with the current affairs of what's happening or the crack in their community, because they can read the text, the subtitles that appears across the screen here. So that's very rewarding, and actually the motivation for why I started streaming the show in the first place. But it's grown into something else as well in addition to that. Okay, back with more shortly. I'm going to head into the break, right, because This is a brilliant competition, and it's free for you to enter. All you have to do is WhatsApp and text a very simple answer, and that question is effectively, where's the Eiffel Tower? Your name, where you're from. That's only so we know who you are to get in contact with you. But here's Callus with the details of this brilliant competition. It'll run into an ad, and I'll come back then with the weather forecast.
This week we have a fantastic end of week prize courtesy of the Holyrood Hotel for one lucky winner, which includes one night bed and breakfast for 2 people at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with champagne and chocolates on arrival, followed by a spa treatment each in the Holyrood's luxurious spa at Orchids. Finish off your evening with a 4-course dinner and a bottle of wine in their Watermelon restaurant, plus full use of the Blue River Leisure Centre swimming pool and Canadian hot tub. Your spa experience includes a private session in the outdoor hot tub and sauna, and a 60-minute spa treatment, each inspired to give you a captivating night's sleep. Beginning with a serene back massage, followed by a beautifully soothing scalp and arm massage. To be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize on Friday, simply answer this question. What city is often called the City of Love and is home to iconic sites such as the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame Cathedral? Text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
For day-to-day healthcare needs, generations have trusted the experienced staff at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From coughs and colds to aches and pains, from vitamin supplements to first aid essentials. McGee's have what you need when you need it, with a full prescription service available daily. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
If you smell gas at home or on the street, don't ignore it. Open windows and doors. Don't smoke, vape, or use a naked flame. Don't unplug or switch anything electrical on or off. Turn off the gas at the meter. Then, no matter who your gas supplier is, call Gas Networks Ireland on 1800 20 50 50. Visit gasnetworks.ie to screenshot the safety steps, save them to your device, and share with friends and family.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonahur Road, Donegal Town.
Letterkenny Summer Sessions present Blind Boy Podcast, live at the Big Top Letterkenny on August 18th, 2024. Following sellout live shows worldwide, the renowned podcaster is bringing his acclaimed show to Letterkenny Summer Sessions for a fully seated, highly anticipated Sunday evening live podcast. Tickets on sale now at tickets.ie, only €39.90, plus booking fee. See Summer Session on social media for all information.
An unbelievable clearance sale is now on at Foy's in Everkenny and Ballybuffet, with massive reductions to make way for new arrivals. There's up to 70% off selected furniture display models, up to 50% off designer display curtains, and up to 50% off rolls of fabric, plus many more great savings. This sale won't last long, so call in store to Foy's in Everkenny or Ballybuffet today.
Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A Triple Plus rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
So, showers will ease through today with brighter sunny spells developing later. Temperatures around 9 to 12 degrees in light to moderate westerly winds becoming light variable later. And this kind of mild, misty, rainy, drizzly weather will continue until Thursday. Then it's going to get windy again, breezy, windy and chillier. So the colder weather, I'm not suggesting snow or anything like that there, but the colder weather is not gone. So yesterday we were inviting you to tell us about your family debates, because me and Lee Gooch, my sunshine, were arguing about whether something or not was a crowbar. And then that debate raged online as well. So we were asking you what your family debates were. And one, a big fight in the house at the moment, is I think Rona has the right to her baby on Emmerdale. Others say no, the father has ownership now. I think this is a storyline in Emmerdale whereby, was she a surrogate mother, Rona? or did you put the child up for adoption? I'm not really quite sure. I missed that part. But anyway, she took the child and went away, and then the father was led to her, and she's facing investigation now. Others say, no, the father has ownership. I'm not really quite sure, and the storyline hasn't played out. But I was sort of watching the soaps over the phone, and it's funny. Is it funny the way women are portrayed in the soaps as sort of scatty or hysterical or jelly or whatever? I don't know. I just feel sometimes you watch the soaps and, you know, there's one scene where a woman went in a panic to breastfeed in the pub or something. And I was like, well, what do I do? And all this kind of stuff. And I just thought, if I was a woman, I'd be going like, seriously? You know, we are more capable than that. But that being said, maybe that's reflective of some out there in society today. So as I say, during the entertainment slot, anything to do with the soaps, more than happy to talk about that as well. You can keep your family feuds coming. Anything that you want to talk about. Right. A couple of comments as we head towards the news at 11. How dare the government invite all those workers back to Ireland? Sure, look what happened. The nurses, they all came home during COVID. They were left high and dry. Why should our sons and daughters come back here when the government chased them out of their own country? Hi, Greg. Not a doctor related, but dentist related. I'm in Inishowen and can't get a dentist for my teenagers with medical cards in Inishowen or Letterkenny. You see that. They are often grouped in, doctors and dentists, but the dentists are private practices, and we've heard from dentists in the past that say they have to keep a balance between public and private to actually make their business make money. That being said, if you are prepared to travel a little, I'm not sure if it's the case now, but there certainly was a dentist down in the Donegal town area which was taking on new patients. Letterkenny, there's so many of you up here, and you know, little resources. The resources are there, but they're being overstretched. And last one, just before we take a break. Hi, Greg. Canada, Australia and New Zealand have now called for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. Ireland refuses to call for a Gaza humanitarian ceasefire. As in all matters Irish, simply follow the money trail, which leads directly to the international illegal Jewish settlements in the West Bank by Ireland. Shame, 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 says Raymond there. Thank you very much for that, Raymond. Okay. Rightio. Let us take that break. Stay right where you are. It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland. Michael and Fionnuala are going to be joining us in studio in just a few moments.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Hello, this is Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. I want to share some serious road safety figures with you. Last month, there were 9,332 drivers detected for speeding and 572 drivers arrested for driving under the influence. But more importantly, 18 people were killed on our roads and 94 people were seriously injured. That's 18 people who are no longer with their friends or family and 94 people whose lives may be changed forever. Help keep our roads safer by always driving at a speed appropriate to the road and weather conditions. From the Road Safety Authority and An Garda Síochána.
Actions speak louder than words, so I'll keep the words to a minimum. Last year, thousands of people chose SEAT for their new car. Why? Because with the Arona, Ateca and Tarraco, we have a stunning lineup of SUVs. And we offer a wide range of purchase options to suit your needs. To see what you've been missing out on, visit SEAT.ie and check out our 241 offers. Visit SEAT.ie. What are you waiting for? Go on. SEAT.ie for our 241 offers.
With everything from pedal and electric ride-ons to go-karts and scooters, there's loads of fun guaranteed all year round at Tinny's Toys in Letterkenny. If you have a kid's birthday coming up, see the great choice at Tinny's Toys to make it extra special. Visit Tinny's Toys on Leck Road, Letterkenny, or shop online for express delivery at tinnystoys.com. Tinny's Toys, with so much more than just farm toys.
When choosing a locksmith, you are literally trusting someone with the keys of your life. This is particularly crucial when you require a locksmith to call out in an emergency. For peace of mind, always choose a PSA licensed locksmith. Spending a few minutes checking the PSA register of license holders will provide you with a professional licensed locksmith. Visit psa-gov.ie, issued by the Private Security Authority, the security regulator.
with all the stories that matter across the Northwest. It's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Time for a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A number of people walked out of a Fianna Fáil local community meeting last night following heated exchanges over the fishing industry. Minister for the Marine, Charlie McConalogue, chaired the meeting with an update of fishing negotiations on the agenda. The Minister has shared images from the event, hailing it a success. He's been contacted for comment. Gardaí and the emergency services are currently at the scene of a two-vehicle road traffic collision in Drumboy, Lifford. A van and a car collided on the N14 at around 9 a.m. this morning. No major injuries have been reported and no further information is available at this time. Meanwhile, a man in his 20s has been hospitalised after a collision in Lifford last night. It happened at approximately 9 p.m. and is believed the injuries sustained are non-life-threatening. Gardaí say investigations are ongoing and the road has been since cleared. Donegal County Council is to carry out a road safety survey at the Glen Keogh-Harry-Gary junction on the outskirts of Letterkenny after a number of incidents seen cars sliding off the road into a field. Motions were moved by Cathaoirleach Kevin Bradley and Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly on the matter. Officials said the junction will be referred to the road safety engineer to carry out an assessment. Sinn Féin have announced 3 candidates who will contest the local elections for the Lifford-Stranorder Municipal District this June. Current Councillor Gary Doherty, former Councillor Tony McDade and newcomer Dakota Nick Meneman have been selected. The announcement was made in the Villarose Hotel, and speaking at the event, Deputy Pierce Doherty says each candidate represents a different generation and can bring something to the area. And finally, an appeal for information is continuing into a pipe bomb explosion at a homeless hostel in Dublin City. Gardaí say they have yet to formally identify the man who was killed during the explosion on Middle Britain Street last month. They're working with Interpol to try and identify the man who's in his 30s and from Eastern Europe. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. Back again at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, Donna Marie. OK, we'll be back with more on the 9 till Noon Show, of course, after this quick break.
After a long, hard day, treat yourself to something luxurious. Your drive home. The sleek new Nissan X-Trail has a dreamy, luxurious interior and is now available with e-Power, Nissan's unique hybrid driving system that lets you experience the pleasure of electric driving without the need to plug in. And it's available in 5 or 7 seats, so even the school run feels like a spa break. The all-new Nissan X-Trail with e-Power. Drive it to believe it. Book your test drive today at your local Nissan dealer. Nissan. Innovation that excites.
Okay, it is the 9 till Noon Show, 3 minutes past 9, Friday the 16th of February 2024. Coming up in the next hour, we've got some live music for you and some chat, conversation, speaking, all many ways of describing oration. Michael Leddy joins us. Good morning, Michael.
Yes, I do. Every week I come to chat to Greg Hughes.
What's the story to the left?
Because nobody else would come and do it, so I'm here to do it. We appear to be alone today for the time being, but I am assured that our partner in crime is on her way.
Right, yeah,
I think she had taken a phone call the last
time I saw her. This is the problem
her.
when you own a radio station.
Yeah, she had taken a phone call and she looked like she was having... It looked like an adult conversation, so I left the room. Because whenever adults are talking, I mean,
part of me, I do like sort of I do kind of like the casual approach, but then I suppose there are limits, and you're destroying your own equipment now as well.
Yeah, this thing is broken.
Funny, it wasn't broken.
I only realised as
Tell us where you were then. Come on, tell the class.
I was on a call.
To who?
I was on a call
To who?
because a big, beautiful tabby cat was found in the Kilmacrennan area wearing a pink collar with diamante crowns, obviously a well-loved house cat, and contact the station for the number of the person that found it.
Wow.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Okay,
I do everything in this station.
You know
This is
what?
true.
That's
you
real
never know
customer
when you'll be
service.
talking.
So
Exactly.
it's a cat lost or found?
Found.
Okay,
yeah,
brilliant.
No, it's found
in the
and-
Kilmacrennan area.
Yeah, in the Kilmacrennan area.
And
so
it's wearing a
that's
very
where
distinctive collar with
pink collar with diamante crowns. So what delayed me was I had to Google how to spell diamante.
But it was only you reading it out. Oh, you're putting it up on socials?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to put it up on the thing. And I was like, I don't know how to spell diamante, and I can't let people know that I don't know how to spell diamante.
Oh, there are words I can't spell. Anecdote. It's not a test.
I know.
But there's words I just can't.
I can spell that. I have a little thing in my head, and I'm very, very, as you all know, mental health issues. When I was in first class, I was the first person in my class to be able to spell Leroy. And my teacher told me I was a really good speller, and that's kind of been my
you are a good speller because one teacher said it about one word.
I'm a good speller.
So you peaked in primary school.
Well, that's
she
100% true.
But she's kept that peak throughout her entire life in her head.
But you can still spell that one word.
Yeah, exactly. What's the word?
Leroy.
Okay, very good.
I'm just thinking in my head, can I spell it?
But there's a load of words. Do you want to give it a go? Hold on a second.
Oh, you just dug a hole there.
You know you can. Is this your Christmas party trick? No, everyone, come round. Fiona's going to spell Leroy. Go ahead.
Isn't it Liathroid?
Liathroid. Let's see.
I think it's Liathroid.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very good.
You should have a ding, ding, ding sound effect ready, Greg.
Yeah, okay, well done.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
You're still an excellent speller.
Well, you see, that's my thing.
You are the reigning 6th class best speller ever.
Exactly. First class.
Oh, okay.
Yes, all right, okay. Right now, but as I say, there's a lot of words that no matter how many times I look at them and spell them, I can't actually recreate it on the spot. But then I can spell words like Mississippi and strange word. Not that that's strange, but some people find it complicated.
Oh, yeah, because it's got that.
Right.
Yeses.
Okay, I don't have your list, Fionnuala. Let me see. Now, as I say, stay tuned. Live music coming up very shortly. We're going to do that after the first break, actually, because it will give Fionnuala and Michael step out and give our performers a chance to come in. Let me see what you've been watching. Anything interesting? Yeah, that's okay. What about you, Michael? The alternative on Green on Theatre.
This show is
I hope you're on the payroll for publicising this.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I know the people. I know these people very well. I'm in it, but not in it. I'm in the tech side.
There was a gentleman who I didn't get his name, was on with John yesterday.
Kieran Kelly, the guy who directed this, was on yesterday. Yeah, that was a good segment, actually. Yeah. So look, I saw this last night. I saw the dress rehearsal, and I loved it. And I'm not being paid to say that. It's funny.
You're not being paid to do anything, so sure,
I'm like, I'm going to start laying. I want my pay doubled, and then somebody will say to me, if you multiply 0 by 2, it's So no, it's a very smart comedy. There's nothing much to add except what, as I say, what Kieran said yesterday. It is a comedy. It's funny, but it has a very smart undercurrent. You're basically asked to imagine that this is 2024, but Ireland never left the UK, and now we're on the verge of a referendum to debate whether we should leave the UK, much as Scotland did a few years ago, whatever. So it's an imaginary history of the last 100 years.
And is it sort of modernly accurate, i.e. has the UK just left Europe, or...?
I won't answer that.
Okay.
For reasons that I'll ruin a joke. So basically, it's a live TV debate. That's what the structure is. And a lot of the comedy comes from that. The presenter, the politicians, the presenter is your typical presenter, Greg. He's pompous, Greg. He's he's one of those shallow people, Greg. You know those presenters that are insincere and
really
just terrible.
Really sounds like you're talking to me. Not literally, obviously, but I mean.
But Darren Winston plays that character. He had.
And is this? When is it set? Is it the time of the vote being announced, or is it?
I think it's the eve of the vote. So the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition are there for a debate, and we get to see the live debate, and we also get to see the producers talking about. So we get to see the two things happening.
So it's innovative to an extent.
Innovative, and the tech side of it is very exciting. I say it's nothing really that I've ever done before, and I'm not sure. There's things that Niall is doing he's never done before in terms of the tech, in terms of lighting it and doing the sound from the stage. You actually see everything done from the stage. They're all on stage. The tech crew is on stage. So it's a comedy, but it has serious enough ideas. These ideas of imagining, and it name checks history in an interesting way. You'll hear Michael Collins, you'll hear De Valera, you'll hear these names mentioned, but the context is completely different because history is different in this universe. And there's a serious B story or C story. The father and daughter are dealing with bereavement. the producer of the show, his wife has recently died, and there's a serious element to it. But mostly it's a comedy, and it's very smart. Critics this was originally written in 2018. The critics raved about it at the time, and they were comparing it to things like Yes Minister and saying, it's a smart satire, a very smart political satire. And I do get that element of it,
Yeah.
So if you're any bit aware of Irish history, you'll get a lot from it in that vein. But even if you don't, you'll still just enjoy the comedy of seeing things
Good
go.
things work on many levels,
Yeah,
but you can get us invested
100%.
in it or sort of.
Yeah.
What was that?
He's right. He's right.
What was that?
I don't know.
And he winked a little bit too.
I know.
And I take the camera off you, so I'm the only one feeling
Getting
creepy.
weird.
The viewers managed to avoid that.
I got a little
I feel
creepy.
like I need a shower or something.
But it does sound like a good play now. We really
Yeah, okay. And when's it running? Sorry.
Yeah, good question. I should have said that. I'm leaving
I
at
have
the most
to do it
important
all
bit.
here.
Thank you for reining me in. Tonight. It's on tonight in
Is he
Augrina.
flirting with me?
And it is his You Wish. And it is on tomorrow night as well, Saturday night. So it's a 2-night run.
Great.
And I say it's very tech heavy, so I can't imagine it coming back. This might be one that people will hear about and go, I wish I'd seen that.
No.
So go and see it. Go and see it
in an
tonight.
update, just before we get to your program on Channel 4, I watched the last 2 episodes of To Catch a Copper on.
Oh,
Wolf.
God.
Oh, yes. Did
Did they catch any?
Yeah, well, did they actually?
No.
Was it a little?
Can you do anything if you're a member of the police? Yeah, of course you can. There are so many levels of cover. It's absolutely unbelievable.
So, is there an outcry about this? Is there people?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what the purpose of this show is.
Because they were invited, right? This police district decided it was a good idea to invite a TV crew in to follow their work, to show that, things have changed, right? And now, if you're a bent copper, that you will fall foul of the... No, not at all. The only fella they got... you could not defend him. He was sending nasty things via messages, revenge porn, as it's referenced in the programme. But he was a serial offender. Over the years, he had exploited cadets. And this guy, no one could have defended him. Outside of that, it's a free-for-all. It's just they can do whatever they want, and there is no...
I don't know how.
Well,
they
there is
didn't
oversight, but it doesn't. It's like.
But there's only so much the oversight can do, like.
Oh, there's a fella going, I would have done the same thing. There's 8 police at one point who tackle a black lady, and that's important because there's racial tensions in the area. She's in a bus, it escalates, and they try and take her into custody. She's holding a small child. They spray her with pepper spray or some version of that, and then drag her out. And it's all on. It's actually quite disturbing to watch. And if you watch it, you would say she was mouthy, right? And that's why they did what they did, right? But there's other ways to de-escalate things, okay? So there's 8 of them at her, pulling at her, ripping the child from her arms, threatening to report it to social services, all the stuff that would get a reaction out of an awful lot of people. And the fella's sitting watching it, and it's kind of funny because there's 3 people of colour. I don't know what the race are, that's why I'm referring to that, on a Zoom call, and then there's this white guy who's gone, I don't really see anything wrong here. I would have done the exact same. And there are other ones are literally head in their hands going, this is completely, you cannot do this. This is why there are problems. But the institution of the police, or however you might describe it, feel it's okay. A guy just standing on the side of the street, have you got drugs on you? Next thing he's on the ground, face down into the ground, perfectly normal. He's standing in an area where drugs are sold. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all that kind of, even worse stuff, dehumanizing people. But the only copper that I saw that they seem to have caught was one that he couldn't have wiggled his way out of it one way or another. So the question is, why did they think it was a good idea, Fionnuala?
I know, that's what I don't understand by it. Like, I'm going to have to read up more on it, because you would think, okay, I the original concept was, yes, we do police the police. And you're like, all right, this could be interesting for people to see that it does happen. And you're like, I could see the value of this. Yeah. But you're like, we all know that technically doesn't really happen.
No, and this show shows it doesn't happen.
And but how do they not have editorial control?
Because I suppose particularly Channel 4, if they're invited in to do a show like that, right, they're going to say, we'll do it, right? But, we're not going to editorialise it. It's what we see and we'll be fair. but you can't have the final say on it. I presume that's...
I know, but you'd assume if you're inviting somebody in, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I was inviting somebody in here to Highland now...
You'd give the place a clean.
Well, definitely. And I'd also ensure that, you know, the way, if you had any problematic things, you'd sort of hide them under the table.
Yeah.
So I'd have a 2-week break. I wouldn't be up, strangely. Michael, you won't be up now until March.
100%.
Shannon, you're entitled to 2 weeks paid annual leave.
But you'd be doing things like that. And also what you'd do is you'd say, I'm inviting you in. Yes, you can do this, but I have the say to say we're not going to, that I can shelve it. Like, if I'm paying them or they're spending whatever, there has to be some sort of
I don't know.
editorial. Like,
if anyone watched it, what did you think? Oh, wait, 60, 25,000. Because whatever they thought this was, it wasn't.
It's not going to help. It's not going to help the situation.
What it did, and these meetings that they have, it's like a debrief. So, you didn't do anything wrong on the bus, but what would you do different? And she goes, well, I've threatened to take the child into child services before, and it's worked. Oh, yes, okay, I can see how that might work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it sounds horrendous,
and it's videoed. And it's like, if someone did a thread on X saying, you go, nah. But you can watch it. Anyway, did you watch that? If you don't, watch it on More4. More4's a really good app. There's a bit of ads on it, right? But it's available on your Fire Stick, your smart TV, not on your Google TV for some random reason. But it's worth it. But there's lots of good stuff on there, actually, especially if you like the fly in the wall stuff. You've been watching Alice and Jack. Alice and Jack, that's the name of the show, was it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What is it about?
Well, unlike Michael's play, which sounds like there's like a really original bent to it, this is completely not an original bent. And to be honest, I actually watched 2 shows this week which are exactly the same, purely to just see if they were exactly the same. And what's even crazier about it is they are exactly the same, and I've seen this movie in 2011. So basically, if anybody's ever saw it, there was a movie in 2011 called One Day. Mm-hmm. And it starred Anne Hathaway, and it was all about this couple that kind of like meet and they spend time together, and then their lives drift apart, and they're not a couple, they're like friends, and they meet and their lives drift apart and the whole thing. And basically this One Day on Netflix is the movie has been redone. That was launched this week as well, and it's the movie but done in 14 episodes. So I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, but basically that's what it is. It's like over the course of nearly 10 years where these 2 people meet up and they go away from each other and their lives go in different directions, and then they meet up again and it goes back and forth. And Alice and Jack is basically the same thing, except that there's a lot of navel gazing in it. So it's basically One Day without the comedy. So it's very, everything is very serious. There's an awful lot of like chat about their feelings and things like that. Now, this is based on, it starts off with these 2 young people. They meet out on a blind date. They go home together, and apparently that few hours of their time together was so phenomenal that their whole lives were altered forever. And they can never, years and years later, when one of them is married and the other one's not married, and it's kind of done like as if it's supposed to be a romance. Like they come back and then, so they're together, but one of them isn't kind of emotionally stable enough because they've one night, then they meet up again 7 months later, one of them texts the other and they get together again. Like random stuff. So one of them is a scientist, and they meet up, they have their one night stand, she throws him out. The next, about 7 months later, he has a breakthrough in work, and out of all the people in the whole world that he decides to call, it's the one night stand that he had 7 months before. He never managed to get her out of his head. Mm-hmm. Then it's like a year and a half later.
Sounds to me like James Blunt, You're Beautiful.
It's very kind of,
Is it like, remember Normal People? Is it like that?
Well, Normal People was more about a relationship that was kind of happening nearly in
is
time.
Is this supposed to be really amazing? Like that you meet someone and you're destined to be together, but life gets in the way? Is it supposed to be romantic?
Well, this is kind of supposed to be romantic.
Okay, I don't get that.
I'm too cynical for this, I think.
Same, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think this, first of all, I'm like, And
I wouldn't mind, when Faluna mentioned there's an awful lot about talk about emotions, you can actually physically see her slightly sick up into her mouth. They talk about emotions.
I love a good romance.
They talk
I have
about
to say,
how they feel.
In fiction.
I have a secret stash of Mills and Booms. I love them. They're my my pet. Not so my not so secret shame is my obsession with Mills and Booms. I have like hundreds of them. But so I love a good romance. But this just seems daft. They're like they meet up. They have this one night stand.
Sorry.
No, these are both TV programs. So
it drags on forever.
The one day is the one day that's on Netflix, which is again similar type of thing, done in the phrase of like if anybody's seen the movie, and that's over 12 episodes, and this one I think is over 6 episodes.
What have I seen Andrea Riseborough in, or Risborough, however she
I have
pronounced
no
it?
idea.
Her face is incredibly familiar.
I thought so too, but I actually didn't know.
I've seen her in.
She is one. Her character in this, because I shouldn't say
she's been
she
in
is
a comedy. I think she was in a comedy with Rose Byrne. You know.
Well,
I think
if she was in a comedy with Rose Byrne, her career has taken a complete left turn because this is not funny.
Don't know where.
And she's very serious and like it's full of angst and that, and all that kind of stuff. And she's got like a difficult childhood, and that's why she can't bond and make relationships. You know, the way it's that kind of. You feel when now, and maybe it's me. Other listeners might have watched it. It's 2 episodes in. Other people might have watched it and loved it. I'd love to hear back from them because to me it was like grab your wellies because you're wading through it to watch it. It was just kind of like, one of them comes back and the other one is married, but they've never stopped thinking about each other, and it's been 2 years, and you're like, you had one night together 2 years ago,
right?
And it's still going. You know what I mean? And they're lying to their partner. It's like I'd love to tell you how it ends, but I really don't think I'm going to be there for it. So,
okay. She has been into Leslie Oblivion with Tom Cruise, Mandy, Possessor Birdman, The Grudge, Matilda the musical, Welcome to the Punch, and so on. So she's got.
Oh, I saw that. Welcome to the Punch was good.
That's where I've seen her in some of those films.
It's not that she's not bad in this now. I don't want to make anybody think that she's bad. Not. I mean, but I think it's just Don't Gleeson tends to make these kind of choices. You know the way it's in, and I sort of went to check.
Are you watching out there, Alice and Jack on Channel 4? What do you think about it? Let us know. 086 60 25,000, because it's quite subjective, isn't it? But you're just not there for it. All right, that's the voice, of course, of Fionnuala Rabbit, and we also have Michael Leddy as always. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after this quick break. Stay where you are.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Not all food is the same. Food that carries a quality mark means that it's been produced to Board Bia's highest quality standards, verified at every stage. It's reassuring to know that there's always someone out there inspecting how your food is being produced and checking where it comes from. It also means you're supporting quality assured producers. So always choose food with the Board Bia quality mark. It's food you can enjoy even more because you know you can trust it.
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture, Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top-quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
Kelly's Diner, winners of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards, is open right through the week with extended opening hours every weekend. Try the renowned breakfast, or the tastiest burgers in town, or something from the selection of healthy options, all on a menu that's packed with all the most popular dishes. First Communion and Confirmation catering is also available to book. All at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from SEAT. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
Country Sundays continue at the Clanry Hotel this weekend with David James and his band. Admission €15. Overnight packages available from €75 per person sharing, including a ticket for the dance. And mark your diary for Saturday 16th of March with the Logues live at the Clanry. Tickets priced at €15, available from hotel reception, Eventbrite or at the door. But this Sunday it's David James and his band at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. Michael and Fanula will be rejoining us in a moment, but they have been replaced for now by Elena Marie McGinley and Jade Robinson. And this is part of the Inish Theatre group, A Night with the Stars. I'll start with you, Elena. Thank you very much for calling in. How are you keeping?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Right, you're chair of the Inish Theatre group. Talk to us a little bit about the group and the show that you're putting on.
Yeah, so the group was initially set up by a group of like-minded people who've spent a lot of time on stage. We found a platform that was able to help people to come on and express themselves. We're hoping to raise money for a lift in St Mary's Hall, which is much needed to make the hall accessible for all. Our producer, Maureen Lahari-Tully, she's amazing to work with, and all the cast get on very well with her. It's a lovely atmosphere.
Now, Jade Robinson, you're playing Rizzo in Greece. So talk to us about what you're going to be doing on the night. I say the night, but it's the nights. It's the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th and 29th. Are you performing all 5 nights?
I am.
All right, excellent.
Basically, there's loads of different shows, and Greece is part of one of them. So it starts off with Grease Lightning, and then it goes into There Are Worse Things I Can Do, and then you finish off with You're the One That I Want.
And we're going to hear There's Worse Things, There Are Worse Things I Can Do from you in a moment.
Yeah.
How's rehearsals going? Do you have a background in singing, or were you always a good singer and this is an opportunity to show your talents to the public? What's your history?
I do. My mum is a singer, so I learned from her, and then I started singing lessons this year for my Leaving Cert, but I've always kind of been dancing in the shows, so...
And you've obviously, with your mum being a singer, you've been raised in a house
Yeah,
of music.
exactly.
Okay. What kind of stuff does your mum sing?
Everything, like blues and jazz and everything.
Fantastic. Sounds brilliant. Any Motown in there? No?
Yeah, she loves it.
Yeah,
Loves
same
Motown.
as, okay. Right, and Elena, this is like a buffet, isn't it, of all the best bits of all the best shows?
Yeah, we have loads of acts. Like we have Sister Act, Mamma Mia. We have all the biggest of stars. We have Queen. We have Rizzo, of course. So there's a whole range of shows to suit everybody in different scenes. Everything's going to be short and sweet, so it'll be interesting and enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. And ambitious to put it on over 5 nights? Or obviously you sample demand, but it's a big run, isn't it?
Yeah, well, our ticket sales are going quite well. We have a lot of support from our local community, from local businesses giving us sponsorship.
It's actually 6 shows, isn't it?
Yeah, 6
All right,
shows
okay,
altogether.
yeah.
And then we have loads of businesses as well donating prizes for a raffle. But we do need the community support to hopefully get the money raised to get the lift in St Mary's Hall.
And that is what
That
this
is
is
our
all
main
about.
goal,
Okay,
yeah.
right. It's really exciting. It's the 25th of February, the 26th of February, the 27th of February, the 28th and the 29th, and the 2nd of March. Okay, and 6 nights. And where is it taking place? Did you say again? It's in
St Mary's Hall in Buncrana.
All right.
It's over 100 years old. It's actually still got double seats in the back, which is pretty amazing.
What's
It's
that?
one
What
of
are
the
they-
very
what are they
few
for?
in Ireland.
Why would you have double seats at the back of a theatre? Is that for curtain?
Possibly.
Well, there better be space for the Holy Spirit in those seats.
Indeed.
On these 6 nights. We can't have any of that shenanigans. Jade, are you nervous? Excited? What's the buzz?
We've been of both.
Yeah, it's
We've
good.
been both.
Well, you'd be a confident person anyway. You know you can go out there and smash
Aye.
it. Are these all solos that you do on the nights, or is there any of them duets?
This is my solo, yeah.
Okay, excellent, brilliant. Shall we do it now, and then we'll flog the show a little bit more, shall we? Right, this is live. Jade's just walked in here. We're doing this to a backing track. We haven't been able to get the levels. There's no reverb. This is just pure talent from Jade here. So hopefully everything, from my perspective, it will from Jade, is at the right level. But here we go.
Things I could do.
Can I do one thing? Can I start again because I didn't have your microphone up? And it's not your fault, it's completely my fault. So I just want to start that again. It's live radio, we can do that, right? Okay. Because that wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair at all. Okay, so I'll get your mic up so we can hear the first words. And off we go.
There are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two. Even though the neighborhood thinks I'm trashy and no good, I suppose it could be true. But there are worse things I could do. I could flirt with all the guys, smile at them and bat my eyes, press against them when we dance, make them think they stand a chance, then refuse to see it through. That's a thing I never do. I could stay home every night, wait around for Mr. Right, take cold showers every day and throw my life away on a dream that won't come true. I could hurt someone like me out of spite or jealousy. I don't steal and I don't lie, but I can feel and I can cry. In fact, I'll bet you never knew. But to cry in front of you, that's the worst thing I could do.
It's all right, Alana, I'll do all the clapping. You just sit there. Come here, Jade, well done. Sorry about the wee full start there. You did really, really well. That wasn't perfect, but it was off the hook. My side of it wasn't perfect. Yours was perfect. What a challenging song. No perfect, in fact. You had to hold some notes there. I wouldn't have fancied that this time in the morning. So well done, Jade. Everyone will be really proud of you. That's Jade Robinson there, who will be playing Rizzo in Grease. And there'll be aspects of interpretations, clips from Grease, Annie, Sister Act, and Mamma Mia, also featuring songs from Queen, Beyonce, and Amy Winehouse. And Elena, it's that time we're all in the same position to, where money's not terribly easy to come by for an awful lot of people. And I think the tickets have been priced that way. It's €10 per head in, which is not much for a really good night out nowadays, is it?
It's not very much now, but we wanted to keep the price so people could afford it and go and enjoy the show. After all, we are community based. We want everyone to come in, feel that they can perform in a relaxed environment, and most of all have fun at the same time raising vital funds for local charities and for St Mary's Hall.
Increased access for St Mary's Hall, which hosts the events from the 25th of February right through to the 2nd of March. Now, Jade said she'll sing Bohemian Rhapsody for us. Go on ahead. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Listen, you did brilliant. Thank you so very much indeed. Elena, thank you also for calling Dan. And can people turn up in the night? Do you want people to book in advance?
If we prefer you to book in advance because we are anticipating that the show will sell out. We have sold a lot of tickets. There's limited availability for the Wednesday, Thursday, and the last night, the Saturday night. So we'd recommend getting tickets to avoid disappointment.
And if you get the tickets, go as well too.
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
It's great to raise money, but you want a full house.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, brilliant stuff. Elena, Jade, both of you, thank you very much. As we head into the outbreak, just some information on, and it's the last time we're going to be able to play this week, the competition that's running at the Holyrood, or in association with the Holyrood Hotel. Back after these.
This week we have a fantastic end of week prize courtesy of the Holyrood Hotel for one lucky winner, which includes one night bed and breakfast for 2 people at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with champagne and chocolates on arrival, followed by a spa treatment each in the Holyrood's luxurious spa at Orchids. Finish off your evening with a 4-course dinner and a bottle of wine in their Watermelon restaurant, plus full use of the Blue River Leisure Centre swimming pool and Canadian hot tub. Your spa experience includes a private session in the outdoor hot tub and sauna, and a 60-minute spa treatment, each inspired to give you a captivating night's sleep. Beginning with a serene back massage, followed by a beautifully soothing scalp and arm massage. To be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize on Friday, simply answer this question. What city is often called the City of Love and is home to iconic sites such as the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame Cathedral? Text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000.
Okay, we're back in studio now, and the seats have been filled once again by Michael and Fionnuala. Thanks so much. Jade was great, wasn't she?
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
I don't think we can fill the seats after that. That was great.
I can't feel the vocals.
No.
That was fantastic.
Okay, brilliant stuff. I've never watched The Sopranos. Is it worth starting it? I'm a little bit about a little bit like that myself. I've never watched it. I kind of watched the first series, and I think my expectations be so high because of its reputation.
Yes.
I don't know. Have either of the two you watched? The Sopranos
watched episode 1. I watched episode 1 when the show was brand new.
Yeah.
And I did not watch anymore.
Well, I've watched episode 1 when it was over and still didn't. Fionnuala, are you going to stick in on this one?
No, I watched...
Have you fallen out or something, by the way?
Yeah. I watched, I think it was the first 3 series, and then it went a bit daft where... like fishes were talking and stuff like that to him when he kind of really had a breakdown. But apparently it did get better again in kind of like the 4th or 5th series. But I dropped out of it and I never went back to it. But then I left Breaking Bad as well.
Exactly. No, I love Breaking Bad.
I think,
I actually rewatched that.
It's definitely worth watching. It's a good show if you like that kind of thing.
But what would you put ahead of it? I mean, if you watch The Wire, I'd put The Wire ahead of it. What's that other cop show that the people often associate with The Wire?
The Shield.
The Shield.
Oh, The Shield was great.
Like, I'm watching The Americans at the moment, but
could not get into that.
Yeah, but 1, 2, 3, 4 were good. The 4 and 5, 4 and 5, and maybe a bit of 3 is about their relationship with their daughter, and it just is grating, and it's grating. Now into series 6, it's a completely different thing. I don't know who directed or whatever on series 5, but it went really down a route I didn't
Rabbit
like.
hole, yeah.
But I'm so pleased, and I shouldn't feel so pleased that I feel I'm getting to the end of it. You know what I mean? They probably should have pulled the pin after 3 series.
Okay.
Fair play to you, Fionnuala. I can now admit as well to my secret stash of Mills and Boons novels.
I know.
Okay, well, just
I have
before
a pact with a friend of mine in the event of my early demise. He's going to go and clean them out.
Right, we've got 24 minutes. Okay, tell us what your what would you call it? There's a phrase for it.
Guilty pleasure?
Your guilty pleasure that you can't admit. Let us relieve you of your guilty pleasure. What is your guilty pleasure? And it doesn't have to be about TV, radio, or film. What is your guilty pleasure? Maybe it is picking your toenails. I don't know. It could be anything. 086 60 25,000. Please get your guilty pleasures into us. Greg, has Fionnuala watched the One Day series? They meet at uni. It's very good.
That's the one on Netflix. So I did. To be honest, I kind of fast watched it because when I started watching, I realised it's exactly the. I'm sorry to kind of spoil it if anybody has actually seen the movie, but it is exactly the movie. So if you have seen the movie, the series is the same. And to me, I was looking for it. It's a half hour. It calls itself a comedy. It's not quite a. I went into it because, you know me, I'm always looking for my half-hour comedy. It's not quite a comedy, but it's definitely an easier watch than the hour-long programs. There is, however, I think it's like 14 episodes in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I know. Greg, totally agree with Fionnuala about Alison Jack. I was really struggling with watching the second episode last night too, and like Fionnuala, I don't think I'll be seeing it through to the end either. Lol. So I hope when you write lol, you actually laughed out loud when you type that. Because I think people write lol and they've got a blank expression on their face. So you better have been laughing out loud. Greg, what about Tripping Point? It's better than the first series. I hope they make another one. And as for Emmerdale, lol, at least got a laugh, but poor Belle. I think this is the Dingle wedding. And they went, like those fights, there was inappropriate. One of them seemed to get diarrhea. It was just, but hey, it's fun, isn't it?
I'm interested in Tipping Point though, because that's you remember we saw that one.
Tipping Point is an afternoon show where
the one that they mentioned there in the first part.
Oh, that's the Sunday evening show, isn't it? Yeah,
that's the one with
the lady out of Line of Duty.
I'm never going to think of her name. But do you remember in the first one, we were like, she nearly kills everybody because the first thing she does when she walks in the room is flick the switch, which obviously is what a bomb person would do. So I'm interested to see what they've done with the.
But everything's like, don't move, stay still, don't move. It seems to be that all the time. Don't move. All right.
Is this your audition?
Yeah.
It did. Well, in the first series, I remember the first series starting off kind of being, this is daft, but actually by the end of it, kind of like, as in the storyline was good.
I do remember when it opened that first night on Twitter, they ripped it to shreds. I mean, it was being ripped to shreds.
But hey, the second album seems to be going down well with the listeners. Wow, Jade has a magical voice. It brought tears to my eyes with the emotion in it. What a voice. Wish I was in Donegal to see the show. That comes in from Ella, who is listening to us in Spain.
Oh, lucky her.
I know. But it could be in northern Spain. It could be piddling down.
Oh,
it's probably not, is it? She's probably having a mid-morning sangria.
She's near Malaga. I'll see her there next week.
Hi, Greg, David and Maddie. A small reference to Fanula's fave show, Moonlighting, a fave 2, Wednesday at 9 on the Beeb, in where Fanula thought David was getting dissed. Just to add that normal people repeat last night in BBC 3, thanks for a review on Alison Jack. But Michael is true on that Mr. and Mrs. Smith, very slow and like Botox, add filler and no thriller. All filler and no thriller, so I've been told. I had high hopes for True Detective, as it's with a cast like Jodie Foster, Fiona Shaw, and I think that was Dervla Kerwin too as the mining boss. So many stories and was as dark as the cinematography. Let's hope it wraps up well this Sunday, as I'd go bananas too in Constant Darkness. But if you want to see Alaska during the day, Sue Perkins was on Channel 5 last Friday, where she got to see one. Okay, there you go.
Got to see Alaska. I mean, it is. Watching the True Detective, I have to say, you are good. I don't know how they all stay mentally healthy. Even just watching the 6 episodes of it, with it being continually dark and cold, you're like, I don't know how these people manage. I definitely am not moving there.
No, it's not exactly going to be endorsed by the Canada Tourism Board, I don't think.
No, not as a holiday destination. But it's gotten really dark and twisty and
strange.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got to wonder about these shows. And you think to yourself, why do we have, you're talking about police corruption and stuff like that. And you're like, this is why we have police corruption. Like, they're dropping bodies left, right and centre in this thing, and they're all just covering it up. I'm like, no wonder a lot of people that get into the police in other countries, think that they can just get away with everything. It's on all of the TV programmes that you see.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I wonder if they're not taking... One of the things I didn't like about it was they didn't really take the murders and disappearances very seriously. But then everybody comes back as a ghost in this town. So that's probably... I suddenly realise why they don't care.
Well,
it's like Bob has been killed, but Bob will be back on Tuesday. We can ask him who killed him.
You'll find him out in the cold walking around the sea. It's a very unusual show, I have to say. Now, I'm not enjoying it, but like that
you will finish it.
Caller there, I am looking forward to seeing how it rounds off.
We shouldn't feel like that about programmes, though. We shouldn't feel like... I shouldn't feel like I can't wait to get rid of the Americans.
Yeah.
Now, it's an ancient show, but...
I'd love a Game of Thrones, like, the way where
maybe I should start Game of Thrones.
Oh, in fairness,
not a lot of nudity in it, though.
There is only in the first series. Only in the first.
No, there is all over the place.
It's very much in context now, I have to say, and I'm normally, you've heard my stuff.
Yeah.
When I talk about it, I'm not really, don't be throwing it in my face for no reason, but
literally and metaphorically.
I need it to be in context. It's very much in context in it, and actually there's a lot of it in the first series, but it kind of blends. There's so much of it in the first series, but then it calms itself down.
Do you think, or do you become immune to it?
I think you're immune to it.
No. It definitely calms itself down. Oh, the first series it goes a bit cracked, but it's like, does anybody have clothes in this environment?
But most of us do. I mean, it has to be realistic. A lot of us walk around without clothes on. All right, guilty pleasures to 086. Guilty pleasures to 086 60 25,000.
That's Greg's guilty pleasures.
Yes, nudity. Would you ever go to a nudist beach on your own?
No.
Like, say there's no one about,
I don't think
no
I
one
would
to
go
judge.
to a beach. Full stop. I'm not a
just
beach
to be
person.
free in nature. I've never considered this, by the way, in case people think it's a thing.
No.
I think it might be liberating. I think it might be liberating.
I would imagine actually it is very liberating.
Yeah.
I've been in places where they have them, and I've never said to myself,
well, that's public. I'm not asking because I mean, then
totally go.
When there's other people there, it becomes you know what I mean.
But I would imagine running into the sea naked, as
And
long
I'm
as the
walking
weather
out
was
of it
quite
naked.
warm, would be in your head. Then you'd think you were like Halle Berry or something.
No, I'd
you
be
know
like
the
James
way?
Bond in my
Yeah,
little
that's what I
tighty
mean.
whities.
Well, yeah, but I know, but that's again James Bond. Do you remember she came up as well in the white swimsuit?
So I think me and
dagger
Frida
by
are
her
maybes.
side.
You're in no way. You don't want to get sand.
Yeah,
Just a beach. I'm like, the sand would get into my comic books if I had them. It would ruin them.
God, I didn't know where you were going with that as you started that word, and then it just turned out all right.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Make real savings at SuperValue with everyday low prices like Chicago Town Deep Dish Pepperoni Pizza 2-pack only $1.99, Nicky Lemon Kitchen Towel 2-roll only $2.50, and Fairy Non-Biopods 13 wash only $4.35. Plus money off vouchers every week on the app. Pop in store or online for real savings at SuperValue.
Details of Interim Acres payment revealed. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out how much and when you will get your delayed payment. €250,000 worth of tractor GPS units stolen in just 10 days. We investigate. Farmers brace for hike and water charges. Teagasc sounds alarm bell on dairy costs as co-op milk prices differ by €180 per cow. More farmer protests on the way. And find out what Sinn Féin is planning for farmers in our exclusive interview.
All inside the Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
Looking to upgrade your home? Ready to dine in style and lounge in comfort? Well, get ready for our sofa and dining sale happening now at Easy Living Furniture. Score incredible deals on sofas, dining sets and more. From sleek and modern to cosy and traditional. We have the perfect pieces to match your style and budget. The spectacular sofa and dining sale is now on in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
If you're on the lookout for your next van, SUV or car, look no further than iMotors.
Your destination for the largest selection of used vehicles in the Northwest.
With quality vehicles just after arriving into stock.
Don't settle for just any car. Choose the one that suits your style and budget.
Visit imotors.ie to explore our extensive range to find your next car today.
Do you know what suits a suitcase? Suits a suitcase like me. What's suitable for a dutiful piece of luggage like me? Shannon Airport knows precisely what exactly suits me nicely. So find out concisely at shannonairport.ie.
Affordable parking, easy access, seamless security and dream holiday destinations like Lanzarote, Paris and New York for a hassle-free airport experience for you and your suitcase. Start your dream holiday at shannonairport.ie.
Now, you're invited to the big hearty breakfast fundraiser in aid of Buncrana Community First Responders. It's in Sandra's house, F93V4F1. It is tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So we know the importance of community first responders, and this is to support the Buncrana one. That is the Buncrana Community First Responders. You can go and have a big hearty breakfast. It's a fundraiser. It's in Sandra's house in Sleedrin, and it is tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So if you're going out for breakfast anyway, or you want to treat yourself, go along to that. I was hoping to speak to them, but I only got late notice last night about that, and we simply couldn't fit it in. A caller says, the bullying storyline in Corrie is heartbreaking. It is. It's heartbreaking, and it's very sad, and it's very well acted, but it's very protracted. maybe that's the way things are in real life, and it is actually getting a little bit frustrating. I just think they could make their point and maybe wrap that up a little bit sooner than they are, but it is incredibly difficult to watch. But I find it as a viewer also frustrating. Madeline McDade of the Terman Drama Group joins us on the show now. Good morning, Madeline.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you with us. I am doing fantastic. How are you keeping?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Ready for showtime?
The showtime, and the show is The Maiden's Aunt. It's taken to the stage in Kilmacrennan Friday the 16th. That's tonight, tomorrow and Sunday at 8 p.m. That's all gone, sold out.
Sold out.
Wow,
sold
fantastic.
out. The Saturday night is sold out since December, and the other 2 nights are sold out this last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and this is off the back really of the public supporting the group, of course, but also aware of what you do and how you put it on. So in other words, you're able to trade on the reputation of delivering.
Yeah, it's almost all return audience, which is fabulous. But there's a real want for local drama and local communities. It's great to put something on in your community that it's not all centred around the big towns, the small communities, and just listening to them, the last 2 ladies that were in with you, that young girl singing, and isn't it great to see them putting on a show in their area as well? It's fabulous.
Exactly, and because it is bringing a show to smaller communities, it's packed out shows for good reason, because the all the quality you'd expect from a show is there.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? There's nothing like hearing laughter in the hall. When we're on the stage and you hear your audience laughing for them 2 hours, they're just... all their worries are gone. They're just focused on having a good laugh, and it does your heart good and does everybody's heart good.
You're taken to the show to Terman too, not too far away, of course, but that's sold out. And then there are shows in Fanad on the 23rd of February, Fulcara on March the 8th. So just to put this into context, sold out 3 shows in Kilmacrennan, sold out another show in Terman. So if you want to go and see this show in Fanad or Kilmacrennan on the 23rd of Feb and the March 8th, I would suggest people get in touch. Where do they get tickets for those shows?
For the Fanad show, they have to contact Patricia Shields. I don't have her number.
That's fine. We can link that on our socials.
And for the Fulcara show, if they contact Fulcarity Community Centre, they are selling the tickets, or I think they might be pay on the door. I don't know if they're tickets. It might just be pay on the door. But if they contact there, they'll get Sharon. If they contact Sharon there, she'll put them in the mood.
Quick run through of the Maiden Aunt storyline.
So the Maiden Aunt is set in the home place of Dan and Mary Murphy. They're a Fareham family. They have a son who has great ambitions of being a musician. The Maiden Aunt is Mary Murphy's aunt. She comes home from hospital after a sickness, but she hasn't made her will yet. So everybody involved in the play is competing to be the inheritance from her will. It's just good old-fashioned comedy, and hopefully everybody will have a good laugh.
Brilliant stuff. And some new acts, new actors in, some regular cast members.
Yeah, we have John McNamara, who's joined our group this year. He's been a brilliant addition to us, and we're delighted to have him. And we have Caroline Dorian, who joined our group last year, but she's taken on the lead role this year, which is fabulous. It's just great. And everyone else is the same. A couple of our actors have stood down this year, but they haven't left the group. Nobody leaves our group. You're in for life.
It's like the mafia. Okay, brilliant stuff. Listen, so it is The Maiden's Aunt, sold out in Kilmacrennan, sold out in Terman. There's a show in Fanad on the 23rd of March, Fulcara on March 8th. I imagine people who wanted to go and see the original shows might actually now say, right, we can catch this in these 2 other venues. So there's going to be a mixture of locals and people travelling into the area. Madeline, best of luck with the show. I know it's going to be full of laughs and great crack, and we appreciate you calling in.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all at Highland.
No problem. Madeline McDade there of the Terman Drama Group. Back with our final item with Michael and Fionnuala after these messages.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
We're driving the Citroën C4X on Dublin's most speed-bumped road, as voted by an online poll, to test Citroën's progressive hydraulic cushion suspension. The music is coming from a vinyl record playing on a record player set up in the back seat. Here comes a speed bump. Let's see if this record skips. Perfect. Went off without a scratch.
Book a test glide in a Citroën today. Visit citroen.ie.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, the Hall Lifford.
I saw your Be Good baker running by again the other day, says I to old Mr. Brennan. Ah, yes, says he. I've never seen her stand still. And she's running rings around the rest of us with our Brennan's Be Good bread. Only 60 calories a slice. 60 calories, says I. That's just a whole meal, is it? No, says he, it's the whole meal, the whole grain and the white. 60 calories a slice and high in fibre, whatever way you slice it. That's why anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread today.
And just like that, another big lotto jackpot is won. For somebody, somewhere, the dream of it could be you has come true. But the big winners are National Lottery good causes. Because while that lotto jackpot was building, Lotto and Lotto Plus players raised over €25 million for good causes across Ireland. €25 million. So on behalf of thousands of good causes, thank you for playing. You make this possible. The National Lottery. Support responsibly.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, so showers will ease through the day with bright to sunny spells developing later. Highest temperatures of 9 to 12 degrees and light to moderate westerly winds becoming light variable later. Now, the fantastic prize we had all week in association with our friends at the Hollywood Hotel, bed and breakfast for two, champagne and chocolates on arrival, spa treatment, and so much more. 60-minute spa treatment, no less. Private session in the outdoor hot tub and sauna, and on it goes. And we had a huge response to this competition. Thank you very much indeed. The winner, though, and there can only be one winner, is Martina Doherty of Grove Hall in Ramelton, who correctly answered Paris. But you can contact the Hollywood Hotel directly and enjoy that experience yourself. They'll be very accommodating of you. Thank you very much for the prize, which was a great one, and congratulations to Martina Doherty, Grove Hall, Ramelton. And Martina, if you are stuck with someone to go with, I am available, because it sounds absolutely
that's so selfless. You're just there for her if she's lonely.
But you see,
you're a hero.
This is more than a job to me.
You're a hero.
This is more than a job to me, and
so
I would
obvious.
be prepared to do that. If
the extra mile.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we don't have time really to dig into anything else here. It's been a lovely show. I've enjoyed this hour.
Yes.
Anything coming up for the weekend? It's funny now, Fionnuala, we're in the position where we can start talking about what are the favourite children's programmes because of your little bundle of joy that's arrived and what children's programmes we're all watching.
It's going to get exciting.
Paddington, I was mentioned on Netflix. It's the 20-minute episodes. It's lovely. I love it. And it's actually really watchable. You were talking about this Australian show.
Bluey. Bluey is an Australian show, a cartoon about a small dog, and they're all. To be honest, have not watched it myself. I have nephews that are obsessed with it, and apparently, if you look on social media, you see all these parents who, after the kid goes to bed, decide to watch just one before they go to bed.
Well, I can join this conversation.
Oh,
of course you can.
Because Wednesday night I got in late. It was after 11 o'clock. I was tired. I could have watched any number of things, and I watched an episode of the original Scooby-Doo. And it was brilliant. I'm watching it, and that was 1969, and it still holds up. I was out, for anyone who's interested, I was watching episode 11, and it was great. It was great. There are Scooby-Doo people who would be interested in it.
Yes.
No, it's just to say, because I had it on the thing before, is over the Christmas I was watching Percy Jackson and the Olympians. If anybody's ever watched the original movies, it was like 2
It's a series now, is it?
Now it's a series out, and if you have any kids that are interested in, because they do a lot of it in school now, like Greek gods and everything like that, and there was a great book written by Ellen Ryan that was on the Late Late Toy Show, and I know a couple of my nephews got it, nieces loved it, nieces and nephews got it, Gods Don't Cry. And this is very much, if you have anybody that's interested in that kind of thing, they'll love this. It's all about brilliant. The adventures of a son of a god. It doesn't realise that he is.
Lovely.
And just all the things that goes through, but it really goes through where the kind of Greek gods come from
Excellent.
and who they are.
And if
all
we're
that.
doing kids things, I can't
you
let
can do
this
it in
go
15
by
seconds.
without mentioning BBC's fantastic Mallory Towers. I started season 4 this week. Teenagers would love it. Anyone would love it. It's a great show.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Michael Leddy, writer and blogger. Chat to you next week. Fanula, you're away next week. You're going to join us remotely.
Oh, I don't know.
That would
see
be
what Caroline said. We'll see what it's like.
Do the crack.
That would be fun.
Rub it in.
I know. Hopefully it's going to be
We'll
warm.
see. No pressure.
I look forward to be warm.
No
Yeah, I
pressure,
know.
but I would love it on a balcony and you with a pina colada or something. I just think it'd be hilarious.
And you'll be telling us about all the TV you watched on the week of your holiday?
No, we don't have to talk about it. We talk about very little about TV. I'm joking.
Joking.
Hey, come here. Listen, thank you very much indeed.
It's a pleasure.